We are live with episode number 8 of Storm King's Thunder, the Crystal Crusaders. I am your DM, Brad, as always, joined by my lovely entourage of players. Go ahead and say hi, players.
Hi.
Hi, players.
Yep.
Yeah, players.
Congrats, you did it. You passed the test.
Do we get
Alright,
XP?
so no. Um if you wanted XP, you would have had to have actually taken turns like doing it properly. You had to coordinate, but you didn't. You just all talked over each other. So, unfortunately, no XP. We're just
The
gonna
game
go
was
ahead.
rigged from the start,
Yep,
boys.
it was. We're just gonna go ahead and get started here with a recap of what happened last time. Mike, you are in charge of that this week, so why don't you go ahead and just give us a little bit of a refresher of what's happened and what is happening currently.
All right. So, episode. We ended off with we were being set upon by former compatriots, two hill giants, a few ogres, and a bunch of they attacked the camp that we were sharing with the whatever they were called, and a battle ensued. And helped by our companion Nefarious?
Nefarious.
Nefarious.
No, what is it?
It's Nefarian.
Nefarious.
Sure. No, Nefarious. Damn it.
Nefarious.
I'm done.
Fuck you, Thor.
Yes.
Quite a lengthy combat. We and a few unconscious players. We managed to kill all of the attackers. A few of the also useful, I'll call them. Which we basically had a rest, kept going to where we were heading to start with, which Luskan. And on the road towards Luskan, we encountered the strangest things. Projectiles in the form of spiked helm-wearing goblins at us by what we later discovered to be ogres wearing some kind of catapult contraptions, which were led by a group of hobgoblins. No, yeah. A rather short combat where our wizard raided most of them. Defeated all of them without any. We then carried on the road, even eventually met with alcohol. Didn't even die once in that combat. It was amazing.
Impossible. Lies.
Where we met with and posing. I think they were posing as merchants. They were actually Centaurum dragon hunters of sorts. They were inquiring to hire us for a dragon killing job. But as we heading towards Luskan, we decided that we were going to decline this offer, and just as conversations were ending, a dragon, a small-ish dragon, did a landing next to us and spoke to us, fighting these Centauran scum. And I believe that's where we left off.
Yes,
Yep.
indeed. So we pick up as hostilities have elevated. This dragon, which had crash landed here, in a what would have probably been a spectacular show had he not ballsed it up completely, um, is currently engaged with these Zentarum dragon hunters. You can see the thugs are poised with these heavy crossbows. Um, uh, all sort of pointed up and aimed at this dragon, and you heard basically the elven man who is leading them shout the order to fire. And that is basically the first thing that happens is the thugs are going to these Zentarum thugs are going to fire their crossbows at this dragon. And we'll see if any of them will hit. All right, cool. Let me just go and flip over here. Okay. All right, so there is 4 of them. They're all within range, so they are all going to attack. Actually, I think they're all within range. All right, that guy's got to step down. Now they're all within range. Cool. So the first one fires 1d20. Phew. Misses wildly. The second one also misses. The third one misses, and the fourth one, I believe, misses. Yep.
Man, good job.
Not very good. So they fire off these crossbows, and you watch as the bolt like flies out, um, and you can see there's basically like this sort of thin um rope trailing off the back of it. And you notice they're all wearing these like huge backpacks essentially. And as they fire off the crossbow, the rope sort of coils out of the backpack, and you can see basically these huge nets that are being like launched towards this dragon. Um, which is obviously making this like firing mechanism pretty awkward, as their nets all kind of just like fly nearby. One of them sort of lands over a bush. One of them sort of covering the rocks nearby. None of them managing to actually like hit the dragon. Um, and then they all um, begin to spread out, taking cover. All right. So the dwarf that is on the cart. Let's get some. The dwarven woman. She stands up. You can see she has a battle axe in one hand, and she reaches into her bag and pulls out this like small vial, pops the stopper on it, and swallows it. Um, and then she leaps off of the cart with her axe and flies up to the dragon's face, and begins to engage it. Let's see here. Veteran. But she used her action to quaff the potion, so she cannot actually attack this turn. And then we have Alquil.
Yeah. So seeing this whole thing unfold before him, Alquil will like turn to the others, because we were in the middle of like discussing like what this dragon was saying, like center him, like group of merchants, and that's like Alquil will turn to yours and then say it's like, so what are we doing? And for the
Thanks,
Uh,
Dragon! I'll lean over to Alquill and point at the people at the cart. Like, just knock them out for now. We'll figure it out later afterwards.
Knock them out, you say. Fire spells, I say.
I mean, we have had very good track record with dragons thus far.
I'm just that's what I tell you, Alquill. That's all I can say in my
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm just saying I'm siding with the dragon.
Dragons are our friends.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna get off and take my 30 feet movement and take dodge action.
Okay. Next up will be Alexei.
Yep. I'm just gonna firebolt this guy.
Right, go for it.
Take them alive, they said.
Fire spells, I say. Oh, well,
You don't have to
That was-
worry.
that was terrible. I
Yeah,
rolled a 2.
I don't have to worry. Alex is the world's most terrible wizard.
Well, excuse me?
Uh,
What? What?
Oh yeah,
How
you're
dare
never
you.
here for when we make these jokes. Now you get to hear them.
All right. So
I drop
your
prone.
firebolt, you sling your firebolt at this guy who like just barely manages to duck behind the tree, and it kind of like singes the side of the tree and whizzes by his head.
I drop prone.
Okay. Noted. Nibelung.
Move, and on my way past, I'll tap Lucas and cast guidance on Lucas.
Alright, thank you.
And two,
Snakes.
two. No, I'm gonna go for one of these.
All right. A saber-toothed tiger. So you like leap out of the cart and like mid-sprint sort of go down on all fours, transforming it and enlarging yourself into the form of a saber-toothed tiger.
Does that mean that I get another 5 movement? That's since I have
like,
25, but this has 30.
Yeah, your movement is whatever you currently are. So, you would indeed have
So I'll
another
take,
5 feet to move.
Uno step further upwards.
Okay.
And I'm done.
Then
Just
we
get that
have Lucas.
Alright. Got my sword and shield out. Because that's what I said I had out like last session. I tried to do the intimidation, but like shit had gone up shit's creek too far already. But as I'm running up here to stand next to Alquill, I'm going to fire at the flying person, lady. And I don't have my sheet open yet. But it's going to be an Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
I'm assuming we're still so early on in combat and Eldritch Blast won't kill her.
Kill who?
Back.
The flying
say that.
lady.
Oh no, you don't need to
If-
worry about her. She probably has like a shit ton of HP compared to the rest of these people.
Mooks.
Yeah, she's flying into the face of a fucking dragon to fight it. She's probably not worried about an Eldritch Blast.
That's what she thinks.
Famous last words.
Alright, that hits.
Both of her.
The second one misses.
Or to the second one.
And then bonus action.
Okay, add a d4 to the second one.
Why?
Why? Oh yeah, guidance.
Guidance only works on ability checks.
Oh, I only have
Why
one
the
check.
fuck would you do this to me? But I'll add a d4 anyways because I have fucking
Yeah, that's what I meant.
See that?
Here.
Mm, yeah,
what I
of
meant.
course. That's what he meant. Yeah.
16. Probably
Misses.
still miss. Yeah. And then bonus action hex. I'm going to hex. It's still fucking out of my reach. I'm gonna hex this archer down at the bottom here.
I just realized I fucked up.
Okay.
Dex.
It's
Sure
impossible.
thing.
Upco can't fuck up.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
Why'd you fuck up for?
No.
All right.
I got off the cart. That's the fuck up.
F. Nefarious.
Okay. I'm gonna run up to Alquill. I'm gonna cast Barskin on myself at the same time.
Okay.
Can I use my bonus action to pull all Alquill's arrows out of his quiver?
I'll say
Bonus
you can like item interaction
Yeah.
a few of them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna say like I'm taking up a couple of these and I just grab arrows out of his quiver.
I didn't even know he had arrows.
Yep, I have arrows. I have 10 arrows.
I just take 10 of his and I just shove them in my quiver.
That is all of them, all of mine.
Yes.
Why do you have 10 arrows?
Because I used to have a short bow, so I had some sort of ranged option. Or I still have a short bow. Technically, I still have a short bow strapped to my back. I've just never used it. Like I used it like a few times in Legacy of the Crystal Chain, and I was like, Crystal Shard, and then I was like, man, my dexterity is just 1. This sucks. Fuck this.
Remember when you used to have those javelins that you threw?
Hey.
I still have like 3 javelins.
All right. So, Windstrider is currently tied up to the cart.
Yes. So I was wondering, can I move the cart closer?
You certainly can. You can command him
Excuse
to
me?
move closer.
Do you want to repeat that for?
Move it behind the rocks, you twat.
Yes. So I'm going to be moving.
All right. It will be
Right.
difficult terrain driving the cart off of the road like that.
All right. So I'll bring him back, and he has 50 movement, so he'll be 25.
All right.
There you
And
go.
Alexei gets dragged along with.
Yep.
Probably actually more like this. I'm just
That is what I
dragging
mean.
the cart.
I fucked up because I could have just stayed on the cart and had Windstrider drag us along the roads.
Could have.
But I didn't think about that until after my turn.
All right. So yes, the Elven mage, he stands up, grips his like black wooden staff. The top of it, you can see now that he pulls it out of the cart, has this sort of like ornately carved like golden serpent at the top, gripping this like black sphere, and he sort of shouts up at the dragon and says, "You will rue the day you messed with the Black Network, flying Misfortune."
go.
And he is going to cast a spell and disappear.
Thank you for the confirmation.
Well, now we know there's Centrum at least, but you know that's just a collective of merchants trying to do their job.
Yeah, you know, the ones who go out and slay dragons.
Yes, because they've hired like they need every merchant needs protection.
Of course.
And so now the dragon sort of like pulls itself up from its crashed position amidst the rocks. This dwarf kind of in front of him, with her axe ready, and he sort of like roars, and it kind of echoes through the air. And then he says, "No, black-hearted scum! It is you who will rue the day you messed with Felgalos, the Bronze Avenger!" And he said, he turns over to a lot of you, and it says, "Come, let us rout these black-hearted scum!" And then he is going to rear his head back and let loose a bolt of lightning that strikes through the dwarf and the continues through to the thug behind her.
Zap.
All right. Dexterity saving throws from both of them. The dwarven woman fails. The thug
Succeeds.
nope, also fails. So they will each take
They will eat shit.
hmm, this much lightning damage.
Nice.
All right, so the dwarven woman, you can see, gets like blasted like right in the face with this lightning. She's like up close and personal, taking the brunt of it. You hear this like grunt of pain. You can actually see like it arcing over her metal armor as she's hit by it. But as the blast fades, you can see she's still like standing. Her skin kind of burnt from the exposure. But seems relatively composed. The thug that was back here with the like net launching device, however, doesn't seem to have been so fortunate as he is just sort of blasted and basically blackened by this bolt of lightning. Um,
Well, seems like the dragon does not take on the knock them out approach.
Sure, it's fine.
and then that is that for now. So it is the thugs again. This time, they are just going to. They have launched their net launchers and they have failed, so they load regular bolts in, and are going to fire. They all have advantage now.
Oh.
Got him. Cool. Yeah, cool. Just lag some more sheet, why don't you? All right. Advantage, heavy crossbow. So there's now 3 of them left. One of them, ooh, critically hits for 3 points of damage. It just sort of like sticks into the in between a couple of the dragon's scales, and the dragon doesn't even like notice really. And the other 2, miss and miss. Yeah, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt later, but for now he doesn't notice it. And then at the end of their turn, the dragon lets out a roar and says, "Is this the best that you've got, black-hearted scum?" And beats his wings. And there's this like blast of wind that sort of flies out from around him as the dragon lifts off into the air.
Yes, legendary actions.
And he sort of begins to circle around. And the dwarf is going to have to succeed on a dexterity saving throw to resist the wind pressure. All right, so that is a fail. So she is sort of knocked backwards and sort of onto the ground. And then it is her turn. She is going to spend her turn flying straight up to the dragon with a furious battle cry, and is going to attack. She pulls out a second smaller hand axe, and is going to attack with it. And I know this says long sword and short sword, but it's an axe and another axe. So she attacks twice with the battle axe, misses, and then she attacks with the hand axe, and that one hits for 4 points of damage. Cool. Her potion of flying, so there's plenty of time left on it. So Alquil.
Alquil is unsure about what to do in this situation. Fuck it. I'm getting back on the cart. It's supposed to be 30. I'm not sure if this part is this cart in that case.
Yeah, sure.
Yep. I'll get back on the cart to take the dodge
Okay,
action.
the card is like 3 spaces. Okay. Lexi.
Yeah. So, is this guy dead?
No, he's been hexed.
Ah, okay. I firebolt him.
Go for it. That will hit.
Excellent. Then I will drop prone again.
Sure thing. Nibby.
Alright. 40 feet straight. And I will try to claw him. Just... hit.
Yep, that'll hit.
And he must make a DC 14 strength saving throw or be knocked prone.
Okay.
As well as take this amount of damage.
He fails that.
That means I can make a bite attack at him. Wow, that was low damage.
Has the bonus action.
It just says if the target is prone, the target can make one bite attack against it. That's a bonus. Yeah, bonus action. Yeah, sorry.
Yep.
9.
The advantage
9
on
will
that.
miss.
Prone.
Oh yeah, he is prone, so you do have
Yeah.
advantage. Well.
Next one is a critical fail.
Unfortunately, you are unable to get your jaws around him. He like shoves the crossbow up into your tiger mouth. Just jams it in there. All right. That was your movement, action, and bonus action. So we are on to Lucas.
Everything else is dead other than... There's only the 2 crossbowmen, right?
No, there's 4.
There's
There's 2 far
3.
up as well.
Yeah.
3
Oh.
left. One is dead.
There's one kind of.
Okay, they're all the way far up there. I wasn't scrolling up far
Yep.
enough. Let's see. Man, it's a lot easier if I said not if I didn't say non-lethal. $30 up this way. I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the lady in the air again.
All right, go for it.
I think they both hit.
We will both hit. For 7, 9. Okay. Cool. And then at the, is that all?
Yeah, I don't really have much else.
All right. At the end of your turn, after you strike twice with your Eldritch Blast, the dragon, which was flying around, you see suddenly sort of like spins in the air to whip its tail around at the dwarven woman. And that just slams into her, and she grunts as she catches the impact. Nefarious.
Yeah, I feel like every action I can do is wrong right now. Okay, I'll Hunter's Mark Dwarven Lady. No, I won't. I'll Hunter's Mark up here. The one up the far right.
All right, way in the back there.
Yo.
Good thing.
I'll go back here, and yeah, I'll start nailing him from there. Whoop, whoop.
All right, those both hit.
And roll 1d8 plus 2d6 plus what was dex plus 2, so it's 6, wasn't it? Did 2 sec, which is now
Should be.
yeah, because how the bracers was giving me 2 more. Yeah, it's like it should be that times 2. Wow, that was shit. Wow, it was even
So 13,
shittier.
12, 25. All right, so he is still standing, although those 2 arrows sort of sunk deep into his shoulder. And there's a lot of like blood spilling out, but he's still standing. Looks a little bit woozy.
He has issues.
All right, Wind Strider, are you going to move the cart?
Yes, he's going to move the cart. He's also gonna like dash to get like movement. Stuff like that.
Sort of like that, sort of.
Yes.
All right. So, you all like sort of, I guess, Alexei and Alquil probably wouldn't see it because they're behind the rock. But Lucas, Nibby, and Nefarious definitely see. There's this like bright flash of a light, from somewhere nearby, and you see, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Oh,
seven,
this fool.
7 of these like glowing, black, snake-like darts, sort of appear, and they all lance out towards the dragon.
Magic missile.
Dealing 25 points of force damage. And the dragon sort of like roars, and it says, "Which one of you did that?" But looking over, there is no one to be seen.
But I thought you only rolled 1d4 and then multiplied it by how many missiles it was.
Maybe you do. Fellows.
No, I mean to recall that's how you did it before. We've had this discussion previously. I was just making fun of that. Anyway, carry on.
Fellows. Well, let's see if he... just for fun. Nope. All right. Yeah, so he shouts out something along the lines of like, well, if you're using magic, 2 can play at that game. And he like shouts out this roar that you recognize as, anyone who speaks Draconic would recognize it like as Draconic, but it's not like he's like saying like a word or phrase. He's sort of like echoing these words of power, and you watch as all of a sudden the dragon's form begins to like blur and shift. Yeah, comprehend languages wouldn't help. These are just like magic words of power. It doesn't have meaning essentially, and it begins to like shift, and then you watch as just like a number of duplicates, basically like shadowy duplicates, split off from his form, and there are now like 4 of these dragons roaring mid-air.
Oh no.
Y'all
He-
still
he
on
called
side,
his- he-
side
he's
against the
called-
dragon?
He's got his quadruplets to join him.
But that is all he can do for that turn. So the thugs now. Let's see, you were firing at them, you're firing there. Well, they haven't really received any new commands yet. This one's definitely going to be backing away from this fucking elk that's charging at him. I think this one's going to run here, fire his crossbow at the dragon. And this one here next to you, Nibby, is going to stand up, dropping his crossbow and pulling out a mace. So we'll start with the ones that are attacking with their crossbows. They have advantage. They are striking at the dragon. The first one misses. The second one critically hits for 10 points of damage. Okay. And then, so that's as far as that one could go. The one that is in the back that you were firing at, heavily wounded, you watch as he like runs towards one of these like covered wagons and then leaps into the back out of sight. And then the one with the mace is going to attack you, Nibby. He swings twice. I believe a 9 misses and an 8 misses. Nice. So that's that. So then the dwarf is going to sort of fly around, making strikes at the dragon. 2 strikes with her. Ooh, nice.
Oh,
With her battle axe.
Hopefully she hits the right one.
And then another strike with the short sword, and then we will see here. God, how does mirror image work again?
When you hit, you
I know
roll a
it's
d20.
you roll a d20, and I think it's what, like 10 and up, and then I know it's like 6 and up, and then 8 and up, and then 10 and up. Yeah. So the first strike, we'll see. D20. That will hit a duplicate.
Yep.
The second
So
one misses, and I think... No, actually, the second one, let's see what it targets. Okay, that one
Yeah.
targets the true dragon and misses. The third one hits another duplicate.
So the dragon is down to 1 duplicate.
Yep.
No, she's killed 2 of his quadruplets.
And
Thor.
she just sort of...
brother is going to be upset.
she shouts out, and she says, "Alathian, the dragon's employed some sort of trick! Deal with it!" Yes, and that is that. So, then we have Elquil.
Step, mount.
Alright, so you leap from the cart onto the back of Windstrider.
Yeah.
I'm just being dragged around all over the battlefield.
You could always just get off the cart.
And
Yeah.
run away like you usually do.
And provide. I don't remember how the mounting rules. If that takes.
It takes half of
mount.
your movement to mount or dismount. But
Yeah, which
then-
I hadn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll prepare an action to hit anything if I get within like striking distance of it.
Okay. Lexay.
Yep.
Your view is somewhat obstructed by the rocks at this point. I don't think you can see the dwarf and the dragon fighting up above, but all of the thugs I think are obscured from your view by the rock formation.
I'll just
Even
shift
if you
around.
shift
in the
around
car.
the door here, or
Yeah, I mean, she could climb off the cart, be there.
yeah,
Well, I can shift around in the car, can I? Because this is still like the car.
The cart goes up to like here,
Oh,
kind of
okay.
like
Draw
off
a
the grid.
box.
yeah. So it's like imagine like something.
It's like a 15
Like here,
foot.
man.
Sure. Clamber up
This
into
is
the
this is
driver's
this is why
seat.
we need a cart.
You can't see that one. He's
This one?
inside the back of the wagon. So he's completely obscured, but you can see this one.
Yep. I'll firebolt him. Man.
Luckily enough for you, an 11 hits.
Oh wow. Okay.
Look at you, the god.
It does not kill him, however. He is still standing.
All right, that's my turn.
All right. Nibby, you were up next.
All right, I have 40 movement speed. I'm gonna risk an opportunity attack. So I'm gonna like basically jump back 20 feet.
All right. Yeah, he swings at you. He's just like, I have no idea what you're doing, you stupid cat, but get back here. Let me see here. Click the button. Come on. Come on. I mean, he's gonna miss, but come on. Come on. Why you
Is she
do
taking
this? Roll
ages to
20.
load?
It's just like roll 20 itself being like annoying. Sheet loaded. I clicked the button, but there we go. You missed.
And you basically see the thing cats do when they prepare to pounce. And I'll move back the 20 feet and do the pounce attack.
You do a little butt wiggle.
Yeah.
Ooh. So you go running up to pounce at him, and
told-
as you
I
do, he sees you coming and like experiences already. So he like runs over behind the tree, and as you go to like leap at him, your head just sort of like slams into the tree.
I told you the next one was gonna be a critical fail.
That's only gonna be negative one. Then.
Yeah, negative.
No, it's gonna be it's gonna be a critical hit. You start over.
All right, Lucas.
Lucas crit. You're Morton. It's your job to crit now.
Get to it. Get to it.
Alright. So. Where's Morton? Okay, he's still back there shooting at people. How high up is this dragon and this lady?
They're about like 40 to 50 feet up. It's kind of like, you know, they're moving up and down and kind of shifting around during the battle, but they're about 40 to 50 feet.
Okay. Let's get some more movement speed on my side. I'm gonna cast Fly on myself.
Okay.
And then I'm going to fly up in the air. I wouldn't be able to attack her on this turn, so I'm not gonna go right up on her or anybody else. But I'll fly about 10 feet up in the air and just kind of like get a survey of the land.
All right, cool.
And that's my turn.
Nefarious.
Since I have a hunter's mark on him, can I like kind of, this is like magically tinkling feeling, kind of know where she is in the cart?
I mean, you saw him jump into the cart.
Yeah,
but it's not
but-
gonna. It's full cover, so you can't ignore it with sharpshooter.
No, but it's I know, but it's basically made out of cloth because it's like the old Western carts aren't. So I mean, can I kind of know where it's in the cart and just shoot through it and try to kill him?
No, I'd say this. It's more like a leathery hide. It's not just like a light cloth.
Okay, then I will just shoot the guy in front instead.
Right, go for it. This guy is probably deceased. Yeah. He is toast. Roll your damage, but
Okay. 1d8 plus 1d6 plus 6. Yes. Fucking hell, I roll so shit damage now. Okay. You. Can I use the attack on someone else or the second attack or like roll
uh,
anyone?
um, yeah, because the first strike would have killed him. The arrow
Yeah.
sort of right in the throat, spout of blood.
Yeah.
Covers.
I know.
Paints,
I know it's.
paints the cart
I
red.
know it's. I know it's disadvantage, but I'm gonna shoot at the one that lies on the ground in front of Nibelung. Nibelung.
He's not
He's
prone.
not lying down anymore.
Oh, he's not down anymore. Critical fail though, so you know.
Yeah,
Hey.
yeah. So still misses.
Never mind.
Strikes into the same tree that Nibelung is currently kind of banged his head into.
Zoom.
All right. Then we have Windstrider.
The black things, are they trees or what are they?
Yeah, they're sort of like the underside of trees. Tree trunks.
Ooh. In that case, I have to navigate a little bit.
So you're kind of like getting deeper into a forested area, and the cart's having a hard time getting through here.
Do I see this guy?
Roll a perception check. No. You do not.
Oh, I clicked on twice, but yeah. Windstrider doesn't either.
Nope.
We're just gonna continue on, guys.
Alright. See you, Quill. It was nice knowing
I
you.
was like, man, I want nothing to do with
He's
this.
just fucking leaving. Yeah. All right. All right. You're not exactly sure how or why, but the last remaining duplicate just vanishes.
Lost concentration, maybe.
But it's not a concentration spell.
Lost concentration, maybe.
All right. So then it is dragon. Let's see. Yes. So, you can see the dragon sort of now missing its duplicates, glides around and sort of positions himself over the dwarf and lets out again this sort of like draconic roar, and it's like, you know, Skyrim style, just like words of power. And this blast of force sort of echoes forth from his mouth, and basically yes. And she's going to have to make a strength save. Which she fails. And so he flies up, and this blast of force echoes out, and then the dwarf is just propelled 60 feet down into the ground with immense force, and just sort of like slams into the rock face.
Falling damage? Question mark.
I mean, it's more like you got slammed into the ground damage, but so she takes 66. So yeah, she is looking pretty beat up at this point.
Oh no.
She sort of shouts like, "Ugh! Olathian, I hope you have some tricks up your sleeve." Um, and yes, Falgalos just sort of like lets out a triumphant roar as he scans the surroundings for this annoying mage that's casting spells, but cannot do anything for the time being. So then it is the thugs. The one by you, Nibby, is going to step out from behind the tree and swing twice with his mace. Uh, I believe both of those will hit.
You gonna let this guy play cat and mouse with you, Nibby? Come on.
Yes.
So you take
You think I have a choice?
total of
You're
14.
supposed to be the cat.
And then
You need a mouse to play cat and mouse. So
this thug here is just going to continue to. Yep. All right. So the dwarf on the ground. You see she sort of like spits, and it's like a mix of like spit and blood to the side as she like stands up, or rather, sort of like floats up, and you can see she reaches into her bag and pops the stopper on another a vial. This one filled with this sort of like bright red liquid, and downs it. And you watch as her wounds begin to like stitch up and heal. Should have been more than that.
No, that's it. You rolled it. You can't say more than that and then roll more.
No, I said the bonus should have been more than that.
Oh, okay.
The dice was correct.
Like you can question the DM if he wants to give them more. He give them more. You
I
know.
question the DM all I want. It just doesn't mean that anything's gonna happen though.
Yes, yes.
I'm just gonna go back to playing WoW.
All right. So that's that. Then we have Alquil again.
Don't mind me, just passing through.
Just leaving.
Quill.
just leaving.
We were going the other way, Alquill.
Windstrider continues on into the distance, leaving Nibby and Lucas and Nefarious behind.
You bastard! You're stealing my horse.
Getting older.
I look off in the distance. I see Alquill just riding off. I'm like shaking my head. I was like, I thought I knew him better than this.
Where are we going, Alquill?
Let's go.
What?
Out of all the people.
Wow. What the fuck is going on?
What?
No, I'm gonna get off Windstrider.
Those of us left behind make a pact to find and get Alquill as he runs off.
Help!
And I'm gonna
He steals our women.
I'm gonna get into this wagon.
Okay.
Thor, could you add Alquil to the shit list?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, looking into that wagon, you can see it is actually, although the outside of it does appear to be like a merchant's wagon, the inside is actually completely empty.
That's what they said. So I'm gonna dash and walk over to this other wagon and just look up into that to make sure.
Yeah, so peering over into this wagon, you see this sort of black leather armored thug just like crouched down on the in the like actual wagon portion, like hands on the back of his head, like crossbow to the ground, just like clearly like trying to pretend to be dead, but not doing a very good job of it.
Well, hello there.
There's just
General
no
Kenobi.
response, but you see like
Dead.
anime like sweat drip kind of like on the back of his head, like go away,
Yeah.
nobody's here.
Just like, look, for your sake, I mean, the dragon is taking care of your friends. I think it's best you just surrender, you know?
Dot.
That's my turn.
Alexei.
Is this bitch within 120 feet?
What does your
Her
arrow
area.
say?
Well, like, she's also up in the air, isn't she?
Yeah, but not more than 60 feet, so.
Sweet. Pya!
will hit.
And that will be my turn.
I think. No, it wasn't. That was, oh, okay.
All right, Nibby. Tangled up with the thug. You're just gonna stand and make the attack this time?
Can't have that fucker just surrender with my hunter's mark. I need it.
Man, Alcool, remember when I said non-lethal and we'll sort this out later? And I think all of them are dead so far.
Well, yeah, I remember you said that.
All right, you
Well, now
You
we
sort
just can't leave any survivors.
Keep in mind, I haven't done any of that.
I
you
know,
sort
it's-
of rear back and rake across him with your claws, I assume that was. And it cuts a deep gouge through his armor. And you see this like splash of blood, but he's like still barely hanging on.
Yeah. Oh, Brandon.
You're just gonna, yep, okay, just move around, just
He
'cause.
circles his prey.
All right, Lucas.
I have enough movement for me to get up to the dwarven lady, I guess.
Sure.
Now look at it. Just surrender now before it's too late. I don't know if she says anything back. I doubt it.
No, she's seems like a bit like consumed in this like battle high fighting this fucking
Oh.
dragon.
And I come up right behind her with non-lethal.
Okay.
For
Do you shoot her for non-lethal? Oh no, she's on the ground. Never mind.
13. And I
No,
think
she's in
they
air, but
both
he's
hit
flying.
With a 26 and a 19.
Those both hit, yeah. So it does 8 and 13. Okay.
21 damage total, I believe. And then I'll... I couldn't man any hacks, but I'll probably kill the guy if I do, so I end my turn.
All right. Nefarious.
Yes, I'm gonna move there. I'll shoot this one once. Okay, +9. Yeah. What the?
Oh.
Managed to click wrong. There you go.
All right, which one are you shooting? The one by Nibby?
Yeah.
All right, dead.
Yeah. He's jumping around and like circling. Yeah, that's. Can I do like a check to see if you can see this guy in the cart through the carts? Like,
He's on the
Oh,
ground.
yeah, he's like prone in the like base of the cart.
You might see me, but I'm just
You
like
can
looking
see
down at
Alco
him.
on the other side, but yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go up and stab him next round. Fuck. No, but that's my round.
All right. Windstrider fucking off the Leskin. Never to be seen again.
Windstriders has to navigate around these trees. Since the road is also blocked off, he's gonna have to.
Yep. All right. That's that.
Don't worry.
Huh?
Radius. Hmm. All right. Lucas, from your position up here with the dwarf near the dragon, you see there's sort of this like red flash of light from somewhere down on the ground, and this like small little like bead of kind of like a reddish energy sails up in front of the dwarf and the dragon, and you just hear this shout that says, "Sorry about this, Burka, but this is more important than you." And there's a
Ooh.
snapping sound, and a ball of flame erupts out between the dragon and the dwarf, consuming both of them and you in the explosion. Go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw.
Man, this is liable to actually knock me out.
Then you fall to the ground.
Dex save.
Might die.
Nope.
Nice.
And a critical fail. Critical fail. Critical fail.
Probably.
Oh, that was me and the dragon right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then she fails.
So,
The dragon shields me with its wings.
That's a pretty cool
As long
explanation,
as
I
it
will
doesn't
say.
do 64 damage, I'll live.
I kind
nope. As a
I
weak.
kind of pictured it like the dragon flapping with one wing stretching the other one in front of Lucas and goes like.
So,
12
the
fire
dragon
Okay,
and you
13.
take 12. That's 12. Round it down. And the dwarf is like blasted by these flames. You hear this like scream, and then she just shouts, "Alathian, you bastard!" And you can see her like skin is heavily like seared and burned. And yes, please, concentration on fly. I almost forgot.
Oh shit, yeah. Thank you, Thor.
But she is still she is still like sort of in there, but
Is
just
she
barely.
not flying because of the potion that she drank?
She is. He's not.
What is that? That's just a
Alright.
constitution check
Yeah,
or a
just
save?
straight saves, con save.
Strength save? Strength. Straight save.
Con save. Yep. Ooh, barely.
Whew! I think I could have added a d4 to that with guidance. I think. No, that's a save.
Yeah, it's a guidance ability check. Resistance adds to save.
Like, you want to just give up now, I say? We're patting out the fire. Your friend clearly already turned on you.
Yeah, so then it's the dragon's turn. The dragon is going to lash out with his claws
Hey,
at the dwarf.
doesn't it get a roll to see if it gets its fucking breath attack back?
Yeah. But it won't change what it's doing. So yeah, he lashes out with the claws, and you watch as he just like grabs this dwarf from the air. She's like sort of flying around him. Just reaches out and like grabs her, pulls her in front of its face, and just sort of says, "It's nap time for now," and sort of like squeezes down, and you watch as she just sort of like collapses. And the dragon sort of drops down closer to the ground, like flies down closer to the ground, and like sets the dwarf down on the ground before landing and beginning to like scan around. And it says, come out, wherever you are. I know you're hiding around here, Zentarim."
Can I say in Draconic that I can figure out where he is? Just quickly in Draconic to the dragon.
Sure.
Since it's basically right next to me, I'm not gonna shout it, I'm just gonna say it like, I'll find him.
All right. And then the next person who's acting is Alguel.
Okay, cool.
Knock him out, knock him out, knock him out.
So I looked down at him. This thug guy says like, So I'll look at it's like you're not gonna move there, right?
Dot dot dot. You don't see
Uh,
me.
Alright, good. And I'll step through the cart. And I'll look into the other cart.
All right.
Final cart.
The cart in front is mostly empty, although you do see some supplies inside. There, it looks like there's a crate that looks like it has a few like crossbow bolts in it. There's like a number of like trail rations, and like a cask of some sort, like a large barrel.
Okay, I'll walk over to the barrel, open it.
Yeah, so it takes a little bit, probably like an action to pry open the barrel. It appears to be like a barrel of like ale.
Oh, cool.
Did you
Then
think the wizard was in the barrel?
Then I'm gonna use the final movement to get in the front and just shout out like, most of the carts are empty, there's a casket of ale in here. And my turn.
All right, Alexei, all the way up in the middle of nowhere somehow. There is no further combatants that you can see from your position. What do you do, Alexei? All right, moving on.
Oh shit, I was muted. Sorry. I will. Yeah. Alexia will shout out. Are we done? Are they all down?
Just a mage left. Hiding somewhere.
All right. Ready a firebolt.
All right. Nibby.
Cats have advantage on. They have keen smell. Can I try to smell
Yeah, you can make a
for
perception.
anything that isn't my allies and isn't dead? Pretty much.
Yeah, obviously there's like a lot of blood and stuff around, so it might be difficult. But yeah, you can go ahead and make a perception check, see if you can try to sniff out where this mage is hiding.
And keen smell gives me advantage on those checks that rely on smell.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I don't know
So
why
that's
that.
21.
21. Yeah, so I think you can sort of like again, there's sort of this overpowering like aroma of like blood, and a lot of like strange smells you don't recognize. But you do sort of like smell a creature that you don't recognize. You can't pinpoint an exact location, but it's like within 20 to 30 feet of Nefarious and sort of off to his back, sort of down the road, the direction where you came from.
Around here somewhere.
Yeah, like in that vague vicinity. There's like a sort of like a circle between like here and kind of around.
I'll move. Would that smell check have been my action?
Yes, it is an action to do a perception.
Alright, do I see anything when I get... Actually, I'll go down there.
Nope.
Down here?
Empty road.
Alright. I'll say, in Nefarious head. Here. And basically I'm sniffing in this direction.
I'll just nod.
All right. Lucas.
I'm gonna go up over this rock and kind of like fly up in the air, and then I'm just going to prepare an Eldritch Blast when I see this man, or like when I see like a point of origin, when I see him, or like when like he shoots something or some odd shit.
Sure.
Do you land on the rock?
I mean, sure. I'm more of like a floating above the rock, but
Alright. No, I was just thinking in case you get hit again and you fail concentration
no, I'm
because
just like floating like 5 feet above it or something, not high.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nefarious.
Yeah, I'm gonna run. I hope Nibbling doesn't mind. I'll jump on his back, and I will cast. Where is it? That
Find
one.
find the invisible wizard.
Yeah, basically.
Invisible
Foe sense.
wizard.
Fairy fire.
Able
Alright.
to find even if they're concealed by magic.
So you sort of like get in tune with your inner hunter, scouting out. Obviously, I mean, you detect like yourself and your friends.
Yeah.
There is a humanoid, like literally right next to Nibelung.
Oh, where? Like there?
Yeah, basically like right there.
I lean into Nibbling. Edu has like a telepathy. Can like talk to him back in telekinesis.
I can understand words.
Okay. Yeah. I'll just. Did you understand Draconic?
Oh.
Okay. I'll just lean in close and go like, he's right in front of you, left paw. Like lean in on his.
You lift my ear, like
Like I lean in, just yeah, and just whisper.
like meow, 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 meow.
I can't do anything. Bonus action. No. Yep. Should have knocked him out, Thor. Damn it.
All right.
Yeah.
Windstrider, I assume, just keeps moving down the road.
He is going to finally come to a stop now that he's getting he's basically going to get on the road behind the other cars and then come to a stop.
Okay.
This is such an easy fight that he just wants to get ready so we can move along as fast as possible.
Yes.
No wasting time here, boys.
All right. So. Lucas, you see basically, there's not like a flash of light or anything, but suddenly from somewhere below where Nibelung is currently, with Nefarious riding on his back, there is basically like this blast of ice and snow that goes like sort of echoing out from there. You you can go ahead and make a disadvantage strike. However, I am going to need a Constitution save from Lucas, Thelgalos, Nibelung, and Nefarious.
Could make a what strike?
Nibelung could make a disadvantage.
No, Lucas.
Or
'cause
was
he
it?
had a
Or Lucas?
negative.
Yeah, because he had. Yes.
What do I do? Con save?
Yes, con save.
Alright. Just standard, no advantage?
Yep, just standard, straight up.
Okay.
And then you probably need to make another one for concentration, but that will be after the damage, I
Is
assume.
my 10 a concentration?
Well, we'll see how much damage it might take.
Yeah.
So 10. You succeed as long as it's less than 20 damage.
Okay, so Nefarious fails. Lucas succeeds. Nibby fails. Felgalos succeeds. So, Nibby and Nefarious will take the
I mean
full
the dragon.
damage.
The dragon shields me with its wings again.
Okay, so Nibby and Nefarious, you take 44 points of cold damage.
Lose concentration.
Lose concentration, yeah.
So I just fall like 5 feet back onto the rock. Taking
Lucas,
no damage.
Lucas and Felgalos take 22.
Ah, I actually go down.
Yep. So Lucas, you collapse down, unconscious on top of the rock. You just sort of like land on it. And Nefarious also sort of falls to the ground as Nibby shrinks beneath him.
As it shrinks, I just slide off and just fall to the side.
Yep. Right, so that was his, and then...
This is the first time I've gone down in a long time.
Same. What?
All right.
No,
At
last
the
session.
end,
Yeah.
at the end of that turn, Algolos is going to use a legendary action to make a perception check. All right. So he sort of like looks around, sort of where this blast came from, lowers his head, and just sort of snarls, and it says, "There you are, Black One."
It's just
And then it's his turn. He's going to move here. And he is going to attack. Now that he can see. So a bite attack, and then 2 claw attacks. Okay. That definitely hits.
Con save.
It's probably not going to matter in the end, but yeah.
You never know. All right, cool. This is your first time having to save other people. What do you do?
It's not my first time, but it's, you
It's been a
know,
while.
it's been a while.
Right, so with that, Felgalos like bites down on the air, and there's like a splash of blood, sort of that coats the ground, and you see now that the elven mage rendered visible, cursing, and Felgalos rears backwards with his claws to strike. 1 and 2, and with that, the mage is knocked unconscious.
Awesome.
However, things are not
Done yet.
out of the woods quite yet.
I'll meet you in the afterlife. Afterlife nefarious.
All right.
you're going there on your own.
But at least I'm not on top of some rocks.
I had a dumb idea, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah, don't use the rocket launcher, man.
What?
Don't use the launcher at him.
Yeah, no.
Alexia, do you see the guy?
He's asleep at this point.
All right, Alquill. So you
Yep,
saw
I
this
see
like
him.
blast of frozen energy wash out. It consumed a couple of your companions, knocking them to the ground, and just turned what remained of the dwarf into this like frozen statue.
Yeah. Also, Alexia, you should be like on this square now. Probably.
Yeah,
Or
you're
that one
you're
is.
like you were right up next to, so you should
Yeah.
be like.
Anyway, I'm going to leap off of this cart, run up to these rocks. That's 20 feet. How hard is it to climb it up, and how far up is Lucas?
They're not exactly difficult to climb. It's just sort of like a loose collection of rocks that kind of was naturally piled here. So climbing it wouldn't take a check. It would still be half speed. Lucas is about 20 feet up to the top.
20 feet up to the top. So moving that as 20. Climbing it at half speed means I need 40 feet of movement in order to, which if I dash is exactly what I'm gonna have. So I am going to take the dash action and like basically get up to the top. Hey, Lucas.
Right, you clamber your way up to the top, and to see Lucas sort of unconscious there amidst the stone.
Don't worry, we'll get you up. Just yeah.
All right. So Alexei, you basically like saw this thug kind of like creep out from the back of the cart and start like trying to like slowly make his way through the trees, just like running away. All right. So you see this and you murder him. Cool.
You're hard at work, Alquill. We made a killer out of this poor young girl.
My God, what is wrong with you people? Oh,
He just
This is like-
explodes in like a burst of flame, and Alquil, you just hear this like horrifying scream echo from the forest, and just see this like mote of flame consume him as you're
look-
clambering up to the top of the rocks.
I shout over like, he had surrendered!
He was running away.
That was exactly what I said when I make muted. He was running away.
All right, Nibby.
Scamper up to Nefarious and do a medicine check.
You
Stabilize.
stabilize him. Cool. Then we have Lucas, who's still making death saves.
Not one, not one.
Not one, not one. And the natural one by Al Quill from Medicine, and we kill him.
Medicine's
Then
fun.
Alquil, yes. Alquil will come around.
Yes, I will use the Spirit of Fire Brandy and 1 hit point.
How generous.
Oh.
Look at you. 1 hit point. You are conscious
That's
again.
the
Lucas.
that's the adrenaline shot in the brain instead.
Strangle him instead.
And
Look up
with
at
that,
Alco, like, you came for me.
I was like,
It's usually the other way around.
it's just like, yes, says, but you're fine now. I look around. Dragon's the only thing standing. I think.
That might be a bad thing.
Things didn't
And,
go very well with the non-lethal approach here.
and yes,
No,
looking around the battlefield, literally everybody except the wizard is dead.
It's just like
tried.
Alex just killed the last guy who had surrendered but was running away.
I tried.
That's Yeah, well, I'm gonna slide down the rocks.
Alexei will scamper on up. We did it! Another victory for the Crystal Crusaders.
I start looting.
Alright. I saw.
So obviously, looking at the dwarven woman, whatever loot she had on her was rendered pretty much impossible to retrieve when she was turned into a frozen statue by her former companion. But you can sort of move around and start looting the thugs.
What about the mage?
While the mage is currently gripped in the dragon's claws, so unless you want to climb up there and start looting him,
Yeah, so I.
Draconic, excuse me, Phlegolos. Could you put that elf down real fast?
and he sort of like looks over to you, and he says, "Why? I must deliver him to the proper authorities and report his crimes."
What authorities would these be?
And he says,
I say in common.
He says, "Oh, I don't know. Says, whatever the nearest town is. Luskin, I think. I think that's what they
Yes,
call
that
it."
would be Luskan, which is I'm not sure if yeah, I'm not sure that you'll be met with much fanfare there.
Did you fly us there?
He's a golden dragon, right?
No.
He's bronze.
Bronze dragon.
He says, "Oh, I'm not too worried about that. I have my methods." And as he says this, you see he like puts the like mage kind of on the ground, and you watch as his form just sort of like shrinks, and standing in front of you all, he's just gonna run over and start looting in front of this dragon. Okay.
I'm gonna
Um,
walk to him. I'm gonna
um,
run up and just like dig it in my hand.
Standing in front of where the dragon used to be, you see this sort of short, ruddy-skinned halfling with curly bronze hair.
Fucking halfling.
And he sort of like extends a hand out towards you, like Alquel, and he says, "Thanks for all your help back there." He says, "I'm sure if not for you, I'd have been a bit more dire straits."
You're very welcome, I say. But
Oh, a dragon's polymorph? I never thought I'd see one.
But I think the ones you should be thanking is the rest of them. I was more unsure about. I say like, wow, which was more unsure about who to support in this fight. I says
Probably still
so.
are.
I nod towards Lucas. I says like, and such decided to stay out of it. So spare your thanks to to the others. I guess to the rest of them.
Alquil doesn't really know about the true nature of the Zentarum. He's one of the people who still believe that they're just a merchant group.
They're a merchant collective. Yes, that's
Well, I suppose there are some among them who are as such, but these particular individuals, black-hearted scum, privateers, smugglers, the lot of them. And yeah, you can see he's like sort of he's like walked
eyeing it.
over towards the mage, and it's just like, any of you got any rope? And he sort of like sees you standing there, Lucas, sort of like going to like reach into the mage's pockets.
Yeah. Like, I have some.
All right, my 50 feet of hempen rope was supposed to be split. I'm pretty sure. I was split into 3 parts.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you you like sort of produce the rope, he's gonna take it and start like tying up the wizard.
Loot.
And he's just again, he like sees you sort of like going to like dig through the pockets, and he's just like says well, hold on here. There's a proper procedure for these things, I'm told. Says
And what is that?
says, well, we turn him over to the authorities, and once he's tried and convicted, his belongings will be turned over to whoever's in charge. That's how the
Trial.
Ah.
I think you skip the trial, the jury,
Mm.
and go straight after the executioner, which is the burial.
Did anyone heal Nefarious?
No, I'm dead.
he's been
I'm passed out, so.
stabilized, but
Oh, okay.
he's not healed.
I'm gonna make my way over there and
No, I'm
Spirit of-
dead.
spirit of Firebrand. Here you go.
Nice.
Like, I
Yeah,
assure you, Legolos, that whatever we can scavenge from these guys, from this group, we put to good use by us in our quest that we are on.
He
To stop the
says,
giants.
He says,
I nod.
I'm sure it would be, but pilfering stolen goods off of thugs is no better than being thugs yourself.
Hear that, Lucas? The dragon says you're a fuck.
I've been called a lot worse in my life.
He says, no, I must insist that this is all turned over properly. However, if you're
I
willing
just
to
kind
help,
of look at him in like the one eye, like the dragon eye. It's always out by the end of a fight.
Yeah,
Kind of like
sure.
looks at him.
He says, however, if you're willing to help me escort this fellow to the nearest settlement and turn him over, perhaps perhaps I can entice you with something a little bit more interesting.
The gleam in the dragon eye sparkles. Is like, what did you have in mind?
And he sort of like looks around and says, you all seem capable fighters, a lot of you. Says, there was a while ago, my, well, lair, I suppose most dragons would call it, a bit nomadic, so I don't settle down in one place for long. But
Bad.
it was raided. These blue dragons came from Anarok, I believe. They stole everything that I had collected from these blackguards before I could turn it back over to whoever it belonged to. He said, I don't really care so much about the coin and the treasure, but they took something precious to me when they raided my lair. And he says,
What?
Says, oh, nothing much. Pouch of pipe weed. But it's
Is that important to you?
he says, he nods. He says, it's called Yondala's Delight. Rare, expensive. Says, they say it's blessed by the goddess herself. My father gave it to me before he and mother left.
Which goddess?
I said, oh, Yandala. I said, the progenitor of the halflings, goddess of luck and fortune. It is because of her that they are blessed as they are with uh, such a good luck.
So you're saying that if we help you retrieve this from these blue dragons, we can keep all the other treasures that you had gathered?
Says, well, says, I don't know um, what exactly they have, but they are sure to have a mighty hoard themselves that you are, of course, free to route around in, assuming you get the chance.
I looked from this did oh I'm not dead
I'm
unconscious elf back to the dragon, and I just kind of like drop him.
sorry to
Unconscious.
interrupt for a moment.
Oh.
Zach, you had Sirak assigned to you, right?
Yes, that's right.
You went down and you took more than 20 damage from a single source. He's sustained 2 injuries.
That's true.
Back when I was up there, I would have also tried to save Sirak. Can I spend a healing point for that? Or
Probably would have tried to medicine check him as well if I knew.
Yeah, I don't think he wouldn't have had to make enough death saves for him to have potentially died there. So yeah,
okay, cool.
you could stabilize him.
Yes,
He'll still have his max
injuries. Yes,
but, yeah.
but I'll stabilize him by giving him a healing hit point.
I'll like drop the elf and I'm like, yes, I think that is a much more lucrative deal. A dragon's hoard is enticing.
Says not just one dragon, but 2.
How old are these blue dragons?
Oh, well, they've been a thorn in my side for a while now. Said they're not much bigger than myself. I don't know their exact ages, but I doubt they're much older or younger than I am.
Can I make a check to realize, like, would it be suicide to go fight these two dragons?
So what do you consider yourself as a young dragon, adult dragon, or just like you're not ancient?
You identify as.
He sort of like does the dragon equivalent of like ruffling his feathers, and he says,
I thought he was a halfling.
Yeah, he's a halfling form.
yeah, well, yeah, but he
He
still
still
does
does
it.
He shakes a bit. Wiggle, 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 wiggle,
Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And he sort of says, well, I've been around for quite some time. He says, there are some who say that perhaps I should act my age better, but I think it's better to just live life to the fullest. But I suppose the mortals would call me an adult.
2 adult blue dragons. Just go get the monster manual. No.
Now,
No.
we would have no chance, basically.
We would have some help though. I'm
Yeah.
sure if we were to go to get these blue dragons,
Would you join us?
Flegolos,
I
you would join us, correct?
I said, well, of course. It's I want that I
You
want
your
my
wig back?
precious.
Get my drugs!
He said, "I am." Give me the drugs. He says, yeah, you can see he's like, he actually like pulls out like a smoking pipe, and sort of like lights it. And he says, yes, I would very much like to get my father's precious pipeweed back. He says, says, I would of course join you. Although, says, as I'm sure you are aware, fighting 2 dragons head on would be a bit much, even with my help. No, I would recommend something a bit more
Subtle.
subtle. Yes, good word. Um, yeah, he
I
sort
like
of
it. I'm
like
gonna use that now.
takes takes a drag from the pipe and just sort of like holds it out. It says, "Anybody want some?"
I raise my hand.
He hands it over to you.
Ah, yes, this is a halfling bonding moment.
I'm
I
sure
stand.
between us,
I
we
stand
could,
next to him to take a round as well.
Take a big whiff.
I'm sure between us we could come up with a more subtle approach to sneaking in.
Alquil will take a whiff as well after Nefarious.
I just.
Fuck, pass the peace pipe around. Let's go.
You swipe around.
This is us like agreeing. This is how we agree.
The
I
dragon
just-
peace pipe.
I just raised my hand and I go like, okay, I have a plan. I walk up to one of these thugs. I take his contraption, the net thingy.
Mm-hmm.
I load it again, and I aim at the cart and I see how it works. Like I aim it like rope, fix everything
Yeah, so
again, and shoot it.
you like pull the backpack off him and like
Yeah.
pull up the net and like shove it back in there.
Oh.
Basically like holding this crossbow, and you fire it and you watch basically as like doesn't really have like a bolt at the end. It's more of just like a weight, and the weight
Right.
sort of travels forward with the rope, and then the net sort of follows after. And with the momentum, is sort of catapulted over whatever you fire at. But again, it's sort of like a bit awkward to aim, and the range definitely seems like heavily decreased as a result.
Yeah.
And it's like a huge net, so it probably wouldn't work on like smaller creatures. They would just be able to climb through the gaps in the net.
Okay.
Yes. I see what you're going with, Nefarious, and I'm going to go and start walking around and try to collect these contraptions.
Same. I'm hoping.
I look down
Um,
at Fluggalos. Is like, I think
I'll
we.
say you can probably get one that's functional. The rest were sort of like burned up and like torched in the midst of battle. Like the
This
one,
one, this one was melee by Nibelung,
yeah,
and this one was.
this one's
He
fine.
was.
This one was
Yeah.
blasted full force by a lightning bolt, and like just fried to a crisp. Uh, this one I believe was fried to a crisp by Alexei, as was this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to play with fire?
But you're able to recover one of these like net launchers.
Oh, yeah, also there's the alcohol barrel.
Does anyone have tinker tools?
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna take the 3 other contraptions with me as well. Just
Oh
and
yeah,
see if
you like
we can spare them to like make 1 or 2 out of the spare parts of the others.
you gather up the pieces. A lot of them have been like broken or shattered or like scorched or whatever, but like you get like bits and pieces of it that you can maybe salvage one from.
Yeah.
I have proficiency in tinker tools, but no tinker tools.
Oh, good. We need to buy tinker tools because in case my contraption breaks as well, that requires tinker tools.
Oh wait, no,
fix.
I do have tinker tools.
Okay, start working.
Yeah, start working. Chop chop.
Get to work.
Nefarious and Alquil just grab one shoulder on Alexi and push it into the contraption like work.
But yes,
I'm going to also at some point take the barrel of alcohol and bring it over to our cart.
Wow, I thought
So
we weren't looting.
Yeah, something to celebrate with.
I walk over to the bronze dragon and go like, so we have to split them two. Like, do you know how to work?
he just sort of like shrugs and says, I'm sure we'll think of a plan when we get there.
No. 2 dragons that taking on a whiff. That's not something you can do. We need one of them at a time. We can't. Ugh.
He just sort of says, he says, I'm afraid that we took whatever plans we made here probably wouldn't work out in the end. I have a bit of a streak of bad luck.
Aren't you a
I thought the
halfling?
idea was that
Yeah,
we wouldn't engage them directly.
And considering how you crash landed, yeah, I can see the bad luck, but
If there's a reason they call me the flying misfortune. But
fair enough. But we can
for
change that.
every bad situation my luck gets me into, it also always gets me out.
Reassuring.
Says regardless of that, yes, I would highly advise against sparring with these dragons. My best recommendation would probably be to sneak into their lairs while they're off hunting or the likes. Or you could try when they're sleeping, but be a bit more dangerous. They would actually be there.
But no matter, we need to get to Luskan first and rest up.
Yes.
We'll talk about
Yes.
it on the way.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. We need to
Yes.
plan that
Push comes
stuff.
to shove, when we get there, I can render myself invisible and sneak in.
Yes,
Says
because that worked so well. I point towards the wizard.
yeah, the dragon sort of like looks over and he says, well, most of my kind are able to see through such tricks, given enough time and attention.
So must be fast and hopefully do it when they're not there.
I asked the bronze dragon if he's gonna ride with us back
He says,
to Luskin.
of course, I would love to accompany you to this settlement.
Yes.
Good. Then let's not waste any more time. Let's be off.
All right. Sort of like nods and kind of strolls over towards where you have your cart. You can see he sort of like stops and looks at the Zentarum wagons. And he says,
Is there horses on them?
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, well,
yeah, they had draft horses. One of them
This
kind of
one
got a little blasted by.
Who is the black?
the one-
Who is the black staff?
The wizard did. He had like a black wooden staff with this like golden serpent on the top of it.
Can we
But
get
we're
the
not
two other,
allowed to loot him.
Can we get the two other carts with us? I know one horse is most likely dead. The one that was here, because you know, thunder. But these two should be fine.
You can, yeah, if you want to split up and have somebody steering each one, yeah.
Yeah, like just make a small caravan.
By the way, did anything happen with the pipe? Was there anything special in, or just tobacco?
No, it's just like normal.
So
Was there
we
drugs?
didn't all turn into real dragons or anything. Or we don't think we turned into real dragons.
the special drugs were stolen.
Okay.
yeah, we're gonna have a talk once we're done.
Love to have a toke.
All right, but you gather up the wagons and set off towards towards Lexicon.
Time to sleep.
Did the dragon say no looty of the wizard until we're done in Luskin? Was that like the whole thing?
No looty at all.
No looty at all? God damn,
Yeah.
I hate this dragon.
And in return of the no looty, we get to all keep all the fucking treasure we can steal from the fucking blue dragons.
I suppose.
Can I ask the bronze dragon if he knows where their lair is? Blue dragons?
He says when they raided my own lair and set off, I followed after their trail. Says they make their roost somewhere in the Anarok Desert.
On Rock Desert.
I'm gonna start spending 8 hours to make my transmuter stone.
I'm sorry. What?
Oh my god.
No, you're not.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And a rock fucking desert.
Somewhere in the Anarok Desert?
Yeah, I'm
Says,
just looking at it.
Hey,
Says,
I'm calling it. He's there. They're there.
said
Right there.
I followed them to the ruins of this old dwarven settlement. Ascor, I believe they called it. They flew past it, but didn't seem to go much further.
Where did you say?
Ascor, I've pointed towards it on the map.
I've put a little cross
Did
where I
this?
think where Mike thinks they are.
Where did you say, Thor?
Ascor,
Ascor.
I'm pointing towards it.
All the way up there. Okay.
Somewhere in there.
So we can assume it's somewhere here then.
So,
Ish.
Holy shit, that's a
how
long
soon
time
could
travel.
you get us? Assuming that you were to fly us there in the quickest way possible, how soon would you be able to get us to Ascor?
Sort of like thinks. He says, "Well, I've never flown with so many passengers before, but hell, let's see." Says, probably take about a 10-day.
You'd have to leave Windstrider and Bella behind.
Said, or I mean, if you've got other important things to be doing, I could always just wait for you there. It's,
Well,
Wait for us at Ascor?
well, I mean, I wouldn't be just standing there waiting. I'd be up to my usual tricks, but in the area.
What was the name of
How long would it take us to get from, say, we went to Waterdeep first to Ascor? That's
Oh,
like
jeez.
Oh, on
a
foot?
longer trip.
It
That's a
would
few
be,
months.
yeah, it would be a long, long, long time.
Yeah, several months.
Maybe 1.5 months if it takes
Hey,
10 days to Ascor.
Pelagos,
that's flying with the dragon, Martin.
Yeah, no.
do you happen to know anything about a man named Artis Simber?
This is who?
Never mind.
on the road to Luskan? Luskan. He fought off band Centauran.
Yeah,
Dragon.
sort
Could
of
you
like.
fly us to Waterdeep?
Oh, God.
Unfortunately, no. I could fly you somewhat close to Waterdeep.
Red Lodge. Small city.
But
Oh, God.
Waterdeep's a bit off limits. I
How
tried.
close?
I tried
can
the
you-
one time. It didn't end well. Um, well, they patrol quite a ways off. I could probably only get you within 100 miles or so.
Yeah, Red
That's in
Lodge.
Fucking
Red Lodge, yeah, that's like no, that's around here. Red Lodge is around here.
No, Red Lodge is here.
What?
Right there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, there, yeah. I saw. For some reason, I thought yes, we could go to Red. Yes, could you fly us to Red Lodge? Looking at the map.
Yeah. So he says. I'm sure I could.
what about our business in Neverwinter?
Well, that's not much of a business. That's just a side quest of like. What it is the dwarf wanted the Weevil. The dwarven criminal known as the Weevil is wanted for crimes in Mirabar. If you find him, we should bring him to the Order of Gauntlet. Laniver Stral is the Order of Gauntlet representative in the city of Neverwinter, so like he has more information about.
Oh, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
So if we first go to Luskan, which we are on our way to now, we fly down to Red Lodge. Slight issue. From there on, we don't want to have the cart from Luskan.
But we can sell the contents of the cart.
We can sell the
Well-
carts.
We can sell the cart, the contents of the cart, the horse.
No.
We can stable the horse in Luskan. Meanwhile,
I just leave it there for months.
like I'm just saying we could
shrug.
stable it in Luskan, fly to Red Lodge, go down to Waterdeep, go from Waterdeep back to Red Lodge, and then get him, the dragon, to pick us up and go to Asgore, unless we have other things to do.
I'm in Alco's head. He hears. Are we really going to put our quite important mission on hold for Dragon's drugs?
I said like, I look towards Nibelung and says like, no. Says that's why we're discussing how we can get to the Waterdeep first.
Yeah.
I say. So it's like if the dragon can bring us to Waterdeep, then that's a win situation. Let's see. We count the dragon, bronze strength, and Central Dragon Hunter. Felgolos asked us to.
I ask the dragon, how long is he willing to wait? How long are you willing to wait for
Recover
us in Red Lodge?
Stolen weeds
He says,
from a pair of adult
well,
dragons.
says, I'm a bit of a wandering sort. I don't like being tied down in one place too long. Says, honestly, I can't say how long I'll be willing to wait.
Oh, okay.
but-
Let's say it like this.
But I
how
could
long does it-
send you a message when I'm moving on if things take too long.
Oh, okay. More like this. If you fly us to Red Lodge, you go do whatever you want to do, and we put a meeting date, and you can like plus on like a couple of days on that one again before we're gonna get back. Does that work? Like you come back and meet us there, so you don't have to wait.
I suppose that could work. Kind of like looks around and says, do you have any way of conveying messages across great distance?
I look at Alexei and I'm like, I don't know. Do
I
it.
look at Alexis as like, do you have any magical abilities that allows you to convey messages over great distances?
No. Sorry.
Fuck.
Hmm.
Can't we just
Does I turn towards Alexei. Does your master, teacher, or anyone else in your Blackstaff Tower have a way to convey messages over great distances?
I mean, yeah, definitely, but I don't know whether they'd let me have it.
Fuck.
Okay. Okay, how long
Blackstaff Academy is very much under the belief you have to earn everything in your spellbook.
how long does it take to travel from
How did you get anything
Red
from your
Lodge
spellbook?
to Waterdeep?
Because I earned them, thank you very much.
How long does it take to travel from Red Lodge to Waterdeep-ish?
So it's about 150 miles. So 150 divided by 24. It'd be about 6.25 days.
6, so and we say 2 days in Waterdeep, 1 day in Amphill. So if we say 3 weeks from he drops off out there, us in Red Lodge, we'll be in Red Lodge again.
So yeah, so 30 days because
Yes.
yeah, that seems doable. If that's acceptable for you, Pelagos.
Says, well, we'll just have to see how things turn out, but for the time being, yes.
And then at least I have no other things to do. I will gladly join you to get those dragons.
All right. Seems like we have ourselves a plan.
Is it now that Beals pulls out the Princess of the Apocalypse book the moment we land in Red Lodge? Just let's go, boys.
There's a strange like dungeon beneath the city.
Yes, I know exactly where it is.
Of course, yes. I know its exact location. We just have to walk
Yes.
over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you travel through the rest of the day as you're talking and making these plans, and nothing else of any interest occurs during that day, or in fact, the last day of travel before you reach Luskin is still relatively uneventful, and uh, you will arrive in the city sort of late during the next day of travel.
All right. Short rest.
Let me go
Long
ahead
rest. We're in
and
Luskin.
bump this up.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, once we get to Luskin, we'll
Yeah,
have long
yeah.
rest. Yeah.
Yeah, if you
Okay,
stay
click
there.
shorter.
Yes, we should stay here for at least 2 days. Or at least 1 day, and then like if you fly, I don't know, it'll take how long will it take to fly to Red Lodge? We should stay for at least 2 days because we don't know what else might happen on the way. Because if we stay for only 1 day, we only recover half our hit dice. And I don't know about you guys, but I certainly wouldn't be maxed out on hit dice if we stayed on
I
1 day.
wouldn't. I
Yep.
don't even want to use the
I'm
one
at
I
0.
have to regain more than like 1 HP right now.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So
We made it to Luskin, guys. It only took 4
yes.
sessions.
Sort of late towards the day, you all see basically like the first sight that you see is this sort of massive towering edifice in the center of town. This tower that at the top sort of splits off into these 5 separate spires that almost looks like this sort of like large hand looming over a rather ragtag looking city. It is very very much this sort of kind of like shanty town feel to the outskirts of it. Shacks sort of constructed out of driftwood and what remains of like broken ship hulls. You could see a lot of people sort of milling about as you make it towards the outskirts of town. There's no guard force or anything like that. There's no walls as you sort of like walking up, but you can see there's quite a few people sort of like moving about. Many of them seem to like sort of stick to the shadows. The roads are not cobbled at all. They're just sort of like bare mud roads that are heavy with debris and refuse. And there's sort of this just like kind of nasty smell in the air. A mix of like salty sea air, heavy booze, and general sort of like rot and decay. Um, and you can hear those sort of like gulls up above. Sort of echoing out their cries as the main sort of like piercing sound that overwhelms the area. And yeah, you have arrived in the sort of sea town of Luskin.
I hate this place.
As you're like walking in towards like the center of town, you kind of like walk by this building and you see there's sort of this man there like slouched up against a wall in like ragged clothes, and you can't tell whether he's sleeping or dead, and no one seems to be like paying any mind. They're just like walking by about their business. um
Walk on by.
it's just a generally sort of like seedy looking place. um yeah, and as you're sort of like walking in, you can see that somewhere up ahead, kind of coming from like somewhere near like the harbor area, there's these sort of like thin wisps of smoke coming off that look like the remains of like a long since extinguished like fire that's still sort of barely smoldering.
All right.
As in like a building fire or campfire fire?
It looks more like a large structure was burning.
Yeah, I remember the traveling troop told us that like they had seen like this large ship that just
Oh
come into
yeah,
the
the
Luskin
giants.
harbor, and they had seen fire just as they were leaving.
I must have not been paying attention because I thought they were talking about fire share.
Oh yeah, no, it was Luskin. So yeah, interesting. Well, I suggest what time of day is it?
It's kind of like late in the afternoon. Not quite like nightfall just yet, but it's
I would
getting there.
suggest we find ourselves an inn to stay at. Speaking of that, Brad, I have been to Luskin before. This is like as far south as I've ever been,
Hmm.
because I've occasionally been with like caravans going from British Island to Luskin. Do I know any like decent? I use that word loosely. Inn or tavern to stay at, in like a place that won't just rob you in your sleep at night.
um, yeah. So like, obviously, a lot of the places here are not great, but there's a tavern that you've stayed at before, well, an inn that you've stayed at before. Um, uh, that you weren't robbed at, so you're sure is probably fine. Um,
All right.
it's sort of down near the harbor kind of district, quote unquote, and it's called the Sea Bitches Rest. Um,
All right. The sea bitches rest. So I
yep.
say to the others like, right. So I know the sea bitches rest will not rob us in our sleep. So we should probably like get some rooms there. I say. Unless anyone else has any other suggestions.
I'm just gonna be on lookout for like a place where I can buy normal drink shit.
Yeah, and as you're like walking, you can see there's kind of there are a number of like obvious like kind of like shops and like a marketplace kind of set up. But as you're like arriving, they're all kind of like packing down and closing for the day.
Do I see anyone have arrows?
Probably not out in plain sight.
No. But like
Did you
bundles.
just steal arrows from Alquil?
Yeah, I want more. I'm gonna give them back to him. That's why I like.
you
Do I see anyone
probably
like?
you probably see like a couple of people like walking around with like a bow and quiver of arrows on their back, but nobody that's like obviously like selling them.
It's okay. I'll fix it tomorrow. Fuck it.
Luskin.
Too tired for this shit.
Yeah.
All right, so I assume you make your way down to the Sea Bitches Rest, per recommendation of Alquil.
Yes.
Yes, that's the map of Luskin. There,
Yes.
I have it
We
somewhere.
wouldn't know that.
Hmm?
But we wouldn't know that.
No, but it's like just for visual aid. So yeah, we will go down to. We came from the north, so we'll go down to like the Dust Doctor's King and find the Sea Bitches Rest.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, so you guys are making your way there. Again, it's kind of like later in the day. People are not really, I guess, like packing up. This is kind of the kind of city that's active well into the night for various reasons. But people like leave you well enough alone. Like they give you like a wide berth as you're moving through, and seem to like kind of more or less ignore you.
Yeah.
Keeping about their own business. And it doesn't take you long. You've been here before to make your way down to to the docks, and you arrive um, at the entrance to the inn. You can see it is basically it's this sort of like two-story building. The top of which is constructed from the bottom half of an old sort of like broken sailing ship of some sort. Um, and there's like an anchor kind of like lodged in the roof. The bottom of it is still sort of like covered in like barnacles from when it was actually like a sailing vessel. Um, and the lower floor appears to just be constructed from like driftwood and like whatever they could find lying around. There's a sign sort of hanging broken off of one kind of chain that has been many times over graffitied with various lewd iconography. Um, And there's probably about like 3 or 4 sort of passed out and/or dead drunk people kind of sitting outside in this like little courtyard area. But otherwise, it's a nice place.
All right.
Other than all of that, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And you go ahead and enter. There's the last time you were here, you remember there being a door, but now there's like no door. It's just like it looks like the hinges were like ripped off, and kind of like a little bit strange. But you walk inside, and you are greeted by this elven man who is like basically like dressed like purposely in that sort of stereotypical like pirate fashion. Uh, you would know Alquil. He's not actually like. There's actually no reason why, but he's wearing like an eye patch over one eye, and he has like a tricorn like captain's hat on, and he's wearing this sort of like uh, puffed up like sort of pirate double, and he just sort of like gestures as you enter, and he says, "Arr, welcome to the Sea Bitches Rest, travelers. Looking for rooms, are ye?"
And I nod and says like, yes, indeed we are. And I look back. Accommodations for 5, 6, 7, 8 people, as well as a couple of horses. 1, 2, 3, 3 horses and an elk. So 4 creatures in stable. Actually, no need for the elk. I would have just I can dismiss him when we need.
So yeah, he sort of nods and says, "Aye, creatures can sleep in the stables outside." Says, "Would you like rooms in the hold or the brig?" And you would know basically like in this establishment, the hold is like the normal kind of like common rooms, and the brig are like the better quote unquote rooms.
What's the price difference?
So like a room in the hold is just like this bare room with like a bed and a table. It's 5 copper for a night. Room in the brig would be 1 silver.
All right, we'll take the brig, please.
He says, "Aye, for the lot of you." He says, "In that case, it'll be 5 silvers for the lot of you." And said the animals said 2 copper each for the night. Said there was 3 of them, 4 of them. Yeah, you've been mumbling a lot to yourself. Hey, 3 of them. 6 coppers then for the night.
All right, I say, and I will produce. So let's see, that is half, like 5 silver and 3 copper. Yeah, so I will, or 6 copper. So I will have to give him a gold coin, which he'll need to split.
Okay. Yeah, he sort of like splits it. He's like, fancy folk wandering on into Luskin. Best keep your coin purses tied tight.
Yes, indeed. I realized I didn't have. I didn't. Unfortunately, didn't have enough silver or copper.
He says,
Hot.
aye. He says, just don't go flashing your mint about town. Likely to get yourself
I'm
robbed.
like 70 platinum.
Yeah, I know. Alice is like, I'm well aware. Thank you. But thank you for the advice. I say. So that's 10 gold. 1 gold. That's 10 silver. 5 silver was used. 1 silver gets split into 10 copper. 6. So I get 4 silver and 4 copper.
5 electro.
All right. And yeah, so you acquire rooms for the night for each of you.
Yes. I will also like go and help the animals get into the stable.
I help.
And I will, with Windstrider, I will just talk to him. Says like, if this all works out with Felagos, he will take us to Red Lodge, and we won't see each other before then. But I'll call upon your help then. I say.
Yep. So the elk sort of like nods and says, I'll be here when you need me.
Yes, and I use an action to dismiss the elk.
All right.
I love the elk voice.
It's a fucking Canadian, I think. Yes. All right. We have rooms.
He
I think.
apologized to you before you dismiss him.
What?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then like, since it's still the afternoonish, we should probably like should we see about selling the carts now, or should we do that next day?
Probably the next day.
Yeah,
Alright.
they were closing down.
Yeah.
Did it take
I
8
would-
hours to get here, Brad?
I would suggest to the people, like as we're like at some point when we're like ourselves, like we should probably not all sleep at the same time just to be safe. Say this.
How are the rooms split up? How many do we get? Are we sharing?
Brad, quick question. With the trans that elves have, like, do I need to? I know I need to sleep, and I trans for 4 hours, and just what the next 4 or nothing.
So yeah, you have to transfer 4 hours, and then you have 4 hours where you can do like light activity.
Yeah.
Which I mean, you can like read, keep watch, that sort of stuff. You obviously
Yeah.
can't do anything like crazy, but
No. It's just chilling.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Like I say, I only need to trans for 4 hours, then I can still watch for 4. So
Yes.
I can go trans pretty soon and just stay up all night.
Yeah. So, what Lucas or Zach asked a good question. How is the room assignments? Do they all get a room each, or do we get like like share a few rooms?
So you paid for 5 rooms.
Okay.
So Sirik and Brayark are gonna have to like bunk up with somebody unless you want to pay for rooms for them as well.
No. And Felagos.
Felgalos assures you that he's got his own accommodations.
Oh right, I was counting him when I was said how many people we needed, but yeah, okay. 5, 6,
Mansion.
well, he's a bit of a dick if you don't stuff that. Well, anyway,
Does it in front of us? Goes in like, okay, good night. Close the door.
I'm going to like I can bunk with either Sirak or Brayark. I'm fine with either. Anyone else want to bunk with one of those?
No, the thing is, I can just go on a like room before
Let's
you
bunk together, Lucas.
before you guys go to sleep, and
I'll bunk
basically
together
just
with
stay
Alex
up all
then.
night.
All right.
I'll just go
Okay.
trans like 4 hours earlier than everyone goes to bed and just stay up all night.
All right.
Yeah.
So-
So
Read. I'll ask Alex if he can borrow a book and sit and read and keep watch.
Of course. What would you like? Some fiction, non-fiction, maybe some
History.
poetry, history. Now, would you like some stuff from some ancient history, some more recent history, maybe some more contemporary
give me one.
history?
Good work, you, please.
I'll give you a personal favorite of mine, and then she'll like give you like a book that's like really worn out.
Yeah. So I'll just go trans 4 hours before everyone else go to bed and just keep watch.
As soon as you open that book, some pages fall out.
Yeah. And just FYI, I lock the door when I go into the room. I put up a hunting trap and I put the blanket over the hunting trap right inside the door.
okay.
Good idea. Luckily, I'm not that paranoid, even though I have a hunting trap as well.
I am. So hey.
Yeah. So the
Mm.
rooms in the brig, quote unquote, are a little bit nicer than the other rooms. They're a bit more spacious. They have a desk and a wardrobe to put your stuff in. There's no windows because this was like constructed out of the bottom half of a ship's hull. So there's no like actual like windows or anything. So it's like pretty dark in there. You light a candle to see or just rely on your dark vision. But that also means that it's probably why people don't get robbed here because there's no windows to climb through.
Yeah.
That would make sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, you guys begin to head to sleep for the night. And why don't we take a short little break here, and
All right.
we will be right back in the morning. The nights pass uneventfully, and you can all take a mythical long rest.
Oh!
Fuck is that?
Do I get enough fucking time to make my transmuter stone as well, Brad?
Well, if you want to sleep, no.
Well, I was making it on the way here, so how long did it
Okay.
take to get here?
Guess what?
Well, yeah, you could have during the second day of travel.
Guess what, guys?
What
Guess what's
for?
back on the spell list?
Shield of Faith?
All right.
Shield of Faith.
All right. We'll be back.
Won't let you down this time, I'm sure.
We'll say about
Well,
5 to 10 minutes, and then we will be back.
Sounds good.
All right, and we are back at it here, episode 8 of the Crystal Crusaders. You guys have purchased rooms for the night, room and board at the Sea Bitches Rest, a rather ramshackle but safe tavern near the docks of Luskin. And yeah, we sort of pick up the night passes relatively uneventfully. Um, Nefarious, at like several points through the night, you can hear like distant sort of like shouting, uh, and like the ever-present like sound of like seagulls, but it's all just kind of like white noise. There is one point during the night where you hear like a loud like a loud explosion or something, which like your character obviously wouldn't like recognize, but like as a player you would know it's like a gunshot going on, like an old fashioned gunshot going off.
Oh, so this is like Boston. I was
um,
waiting for it.
and it sort of cracks through the otherwise quiet night and maybe like alerts you for a moment, but it's nowhere close to you, and so you you sort of pay it no mind. Um, but yeah, there's sort of like this ever present kind of like noise, like white noise of the city. But other than that, the night passes relatively uneventfully, and you all awake the following morning to the sound of sort of seagulls flying in the air, the waves lashing against the shore. You can hear like you're pretty close to the dock, so you can hear like the creaking of old weathered ships, sort of. Getting ready to set sail. Um, and yeah, you all meet up in the common room of the inn in the morning. Um,
Right. Um. So we'll get ourselves some breakfast,
all right.
and I'll say it's like so. We'll need to. Is fellow goes with us, or
Not immediately right away.
right?
And as far as like breakfast is concerned, you'll probably have to uh, like find a place nearby. This place does not have like a kitchen. Uh,
All right. I will. Like say it's like for food, we'll have to find some place nearby. But we should. If we're going to go with fellow goes, we need to sell off a lot of things. We currently have a wagon with a lot of things in it. Uh, a lot of which we want to save. We have two other wagons now, so we have 3 wagons to sell, plus a bunch of equipment that's on said wagons. We'll have to look at it and like decide what we want to keep and what we don't want to keep.
I guess yes.
Yes.
This is not something I'm very good at, so
I don't imagine we have anything in the wagon that we can't carry with us.
A barrel of ale.
I mean, I think we can do without the barrel of ale. We could just
Is that
drink
the
it
thing?
all.
excuse me?
Just want to stay here for a night and drink it all.
Yeah, we have the barrel of ale. We have a half. Well, we should probably stay another day as well. We have a set of half plate, which I don't know who's going to use that. I thought we just took that to selling. I have have my winter gear and hide armor I can pick up again. We have fishing tackle, like first aid kits, more rope,
I'm
manacles.
just hearing a bunch of things we don't need right now.
Manacles, 10-foot pole. I don't know why. Who
The hell.
We have 5 climbers kits, 75 rations, and the shovel. The shovel I'm going to keep.
Why do you want to keep the shovel?
You never need
All
them.
right.
You never know when you need a shovel.
Well, those rations are from like 9 years ago, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say they're probably not good anymore.
I probably ate them down throughout the years, if
Yeah.
I'm being honest. So I'm going to remove the rations. So let's see. Also, I have to remove the rations that I've used now for the last 2 days. of travel.
Yep.
So I am down to 0 rations. Cool.
Cool. Cool.
I need to buy more rations. So yeah. And this is of course I don't know that, but Lucas has 4 plate armors in his bag of holding. I don't know if he wants to. What he's planning to do with those. We also have a hobgoblin banner, a great sword. Anyone wants a great sword?
It's
pretty great.
mine. I just looted it, so
Right, yes.
just sell it. It was from the
So,
captain.
I'm just. All right, so I have to go.
In the meantime, what sort of like place would you like to seek out for breakfast? Just like whatever the closest like dive is, or like actually search around for more of like a restaurant, quote unquote.
I mean, I'd imagine somewhere that doesn't give us food poisoning.
Well,
Excuse me. If we're staying here another night, I can just make us food.
Oh, you can?
yep, he can create some nice
Oh, yes,
bland,
berry.
good old bland good berries.
I make it strawberry. I hand out. Let's see. I create.
Oh
Okay,
fuck yeah! I
Commander
love
grade.
strawberries.
I'm gonna keep the.
One
I'm gonna keep the healer's kit, the shot and the shovel. I don't know why we have a bunch of climber's kits. I don't know why we have.
This berry will sate you for the entire day, just so you know.
All right, I see. I take this one berry and I put it in my mouth.
No, not that berry.
That's a bad berry.
Don't worry, I can't get food poisoning.
No, it was explosive berry.
What?
All right.
I did not realize I was muted.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yes, I'm going to sell those plate armors.
All right. Yes. Okay.
And anything else? I don't know if anyone else is high in charisma.
I have. You probably have higher. I have +4. What's your?
+5, yeah. So you and me can go sell things.
Yes. I'm gonna take this hempen rope that I have, the 50-foot one, and I'm gonna this hempen rope. I'm gonna sell the one that we've cut.
Hey Alex, you want this half-elf wind-up doll?
Where did you get this?
9 years ago, as I was leaving the Dales, I found it.
Oh. Sure. I guess I'll take it if you don't want it.
I give it to her, and then probably like a day later, like, I lost it!
Quill,
Yes.
could you sell these as well? And I gave you 2 wolf figurines and this gemstone.
Are those the Black Ice Wolf figurines?
Yes.
Maybe.
I look at Nicholas is like these. This needs to be destroyed. I say the black, like pointing at like the 5, or the wolf figurines. I say they will corrupt whoever is holding on to them. I say.
I just have 2 in my bag at the moment.
True. Maybe you can hold on to these in your magical bag there.
Lucas.
Do you want me to? I mean, I don't. They haven't really been doing anything to me while they've been in there.
Yeah, fair. They haven't really been affecting me either. So, but
Right.
I feel a magical bag might be better just in case.
You got 2 of them. You said you had 2 of them.
Yes.
All right. I'm just trying to figure out what I need to write. And are they about the same weight as the 2 I have, Brad? About 30 pounds each.
I forget what I said for those. If I even gave them one.
Also,
Lucas and the gemstone to Alquill.
Yeah, the gemstones. That's the jet gemstone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's the ones that's supposed to be worth 100 gold.
Yeah, they would be about like they're similar size, so they'd be about the same weight.
All right.
Alright.
Then I'll just lump them together with my other 2. So there's another 120 pounds. Well, another 60 pounds.
Yep. All right. Anything else on the wagon that anyone wants to keep? If not, I'm like anything that's on the wagon right now, I'm gonna fucking sell.
Like
Or
the
see.
great sword, the half plate, the barrel of ale, all that.
I'm
Yeah.
standing admiring the 10-foot pole.
Yes, admiring the 10-foot pole.
I don't remember why. I think bolted for the meme.
All right, so so you guys quickly down your breakfast of one berry.
Yep.
Woo!
And and
We all
it's
tap
like
them together.
it's 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 filling, but strangely sort of like you sort of feel a bit like empty, but you
Don't worry, I'm
satisfied.
sure we
Oh,
can pick up some rats on a stick while we're out.
It's that fucking Chrono Trigger.
It's that Chrono Trigger thing. Yeah. Like you feel nourished but empty inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
Jokes on you, I always feel like that.
so you do that, and then presumably I guess you guys are going to like go find like a marketplace or something of
Yeah.
the likes.
Yeah.
All
We
right.
all going together?
Me and Lucas at least.
Yeah. What are the rest of you guys doing?
Well, I'm going to BRB and go get some food.
All right.
Alex is joining us on the marketplace.
Sure thing.
Nibelung and Nefarious.
Buy me something.
Oh,
Whatever.
I'm
go with it.
gonna join if anyone is gonna go shopping.
All right. Yeah.
Very good. So everybody goes ahead and shopping trip. So yeah, you head out. It's like early in the morning. As you're walking towards where you sort of know the marketplace, or rather like where people set it up, is you're heading up along kind of the river that runs through the center of town. Um, and you can see now there's quite a crowd of people moving about the city. Many of them sort of dressed in that sort of like almost like thuggish style, wearing like dark leathers and like sort of concealing their head and face with hoods and hats and the likes. But there's still like normal people moving about as well. There's a lot of like kind of like sailors and dock worker type folks around. Some of them like carrying crates to and fro. And as you're like moving up to the marketplace, you can see that sort of in the middle of the river, there is sort of jutting out from it the remains of what looks like this like massive sort of long ship sticking up out of the water. And it seems to have like sunk and is like smoldering and burnt, the source of like the smoke that you saw before. There are several sort of like smaller, not quite like rowboats, a little bit larger than rowboats, but like smaller boats sort of sailing around the vicinity. Many of them seem to be fitted with these rudimentary like crane mechanisms on the back of them, and they appear to be sort of like salvaging stuff from the water. You also notice sort of floating face down in the water, like several like charred and heavily burnt like frosted giant corpses that have been sort of like picked over and just like left to float down the river and eventually exit out into the sea, presumably.
Damn.
Um,
Can I stop somebody like as we're walking by them and point over to it and so like, what happened here?
yeah, so you like stop this dock worker who's holding this like crate, and he like looks over and says, "What? You didn't know?" He says, "These giants sailed their ship right into the bay and slammed into some of the Grand Captain's ships parked at the docks." He says, "It was
Bad idea.
yes." Says, "They were rallying a force to deal with them when all of a sudden those wizards came out of their tower and consumed the boat with flame. It was quite the sight. Burned for days and days."
Shit,
Says,
I
"Now."
forgot that there's a wizard's tower here.
Oh yeah, it's the like that is where Valish Gant came from.
Yeah.
He
It's
says,
the host tower of the Arcane Brotherhood, uh, and they're a scummy bunch.
said, they've just now gotten to start salvaging what they could from the wreckage. Um, he says, if you're going down by the market, I'm sure there's plenty of interesting things to buy there.
Oh god damn it. I look over at Alquill. I was like, I'm willing to bet you there's some of them black eye statues in the marketplace right now.
I just like groan as it's like I suppose it would be a miss to not try to explain the situation to someone in authority.
Yeah, I'm sure that will work.
Yeah,
We can try.
we can try. I would at very least try. Very least I owe it to them to try. But if they won't
Before we go
listen,
trying to buy them.
depends on how much there is. If it's too much, then nothing to be done about that.
Yep. Then they're screwed.
Yeah, I mean it's Luskan. They're screwed anyway.
Push comes to shove, we could try to steal them.
Well,
They
I
are big
suppose.
statues. Fuck, they're like 30 pounds, aren't they?
Yeah, they're like really big statues. So I don't think that's like worth. Like I mean, it's Luskan. Luskan's gonna be like they're gonna realize it eventually anyway.
Yeah, and once shit starts getting bad, we can at least let them know that how to destroy them or
Yeah.
people higher up.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I says like I could probably like try to see if I can talk to one of the high captains, explain how to be destroyed. Oh man, that's gonna go well so well.
All right, so yeah, you guys make your way over to the towards the like marketplace, and you can see there are a lot of people kind of buying and selling, trading. A lot of it is sort of like fish and like that sort of like general thing. Um, there are a few people like trading in uh, just freshly imported spices from Kalimshan, et cetera, et cetera.
Ooh.
Uh, there's some like more exotic trade goods here, being like a port city, but for the most part, it's just your typical kind of like day-to-day fare. Searching around in the market, there's nobody like at least here that appears to be like openly buying and selling weaponry, but there's definitely like a shop somewhere in town that
By the way, I keep my hand on my pouch at all times.
okay.
Yeah, stay on guard for that.
Yeah.
Like, especially my pouch.
Yep.
I've got
There's like
myself a family
700
pack.
and something gold in it.
Yeah, so you like kind of like keep an eye out, and yeah, so you're making your way through like the crowds of people, and sort of searching out for a place.
Pickpocket people along the way.
Are you going to?
Sure, I'll give it one single go.
All right. So yeah, go
Sleight
ahead
of
and make a sleight of hand. Yep.
No. I didn't know, I didn't mean to do that to you. But it was a 13 for everyone else. I did it to the GM. I never changed it.
All right. So you spot a a mark who's sort of
Unassuming.
unassuming. Yeah. Just
Little did I know, he's one of the Grand Captains!
and you like make your way over to him, and like he's distracted by something, and you reach over to like grab his purse, and as you do, you just see like a flash, and then there's like a sharp pain in your hand, as this like dagger like pricks into you, like obviously not trying to like stab you, but like basically like get your hand away.
Continue on.
And yeah, you like continue walking on down the marketplace. And
No repercussions. We'll follow.
and yeah, so you do that. Whatever they were up to was clearly more important than dealing with yet another pickpocket. and you hit an area of the market where it's like heavily crowded near the edge of the river. You can see there are like people kind of like climbing over, like looking over each other's like shoulder, like trying to see like what's what. As you can hear this sort of like shouting coming from within. It's sort of this this kind of like deeper. Uh, Deeper voice with like a strange accent you don't like recognize right away. Although Breork kind of like stands on edge a little bit when he hears it. But you hear this shouting that sort of says, salvage from the frost giant longship. Come and take a look, take a gander at these exotic wares."
I just look over at Alco and sigh.
Let's have a look.
I follow Alquil as I'm hoping he shoved his way through the people to get there.
Yeah, I'm going to start showing my way for people.
All right, so you start shoving your way through people, like bumping into them as you go, and yeah, you like push through.
Check your purses or
I'll try to
pouches.
pickpocket people as I go through.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's like actively like keeping an eye out can go ahead and make a perception check.
I do perception check.
It is me. I have returned. Hello.
Welcome back.
Did
We're all
Lucas
in the
buy me
market.
anything?
No,
No,
we
just
haven't.
got here.
We have just got to the market and they're selling loot from the frost giant ship.
We did remember that there's a wizard tower here.
Ooh.
The one that Valus Gant's from.
Yeah. The Arcane Brotherhood's wizard tower is here in Luskan.
Interesting.
Fucking shit either way.
He didn't get to pickpocket someone. Someone pickpocketed him.
I'm just following
All right.
behind.
Yeah, so
I'm
Lucas,
not
you're
looking.
you're walking up and like you like bump into somebody as like you're like on purpose like trying to like distract them and reach around to like grab their
No,
purse.
that was the wrong click. I wasn't trying to slide a hand.
Okay, sure.
I meant to pick perception, but I was in the mood.
Of course. Yeah, so like you're like
I mean,
bumping
if you
into
want to use it,
people,
go ahead. I mean,
pushing your way through. It doesn't really matter.
he thought I tried to sleight of hand him.
And yeah, so you're like keeping an eye out as best you can, and you all like push your way through, and you can see like the crowd is kind of at the outskirts of. You see this. There's a stall like near a rudimentary dock that leads off into the river. One of those like vessels, one of those boats that you saw with the crane, like the wooden crane arm attached to it, is like currently parked there. And there are what appear to be a couple of drow, like armored drow, kind of like dragging this large like wood and bone chest off of the boat onto the docks. And right at the end of the dock, there's this like stall that is like built there. It's not like a temporary thing; it's like a structure that's been built there. And you can see there are two drow standing on either side of it. Both of them sort of like arms crossed, kind of gazing into the crowd, keeping like ushering people back away. And they have on them. You see, they have like rapiers on one hip, and on the other they have these holsters with devices in them that none of you recognize as characters, but are like obviously like these flintlock pistols. Um, and they're sort of like standing guard. And in the stall, like behind the stall, the source of this voice sort of like beckoning people closer and showing off these wares. There is this rather flamboyantly dressed male drow, wearing this sort of like purple and black kind of uh, like basically like blouse slash double sort of thing with all these like ruffles along it. He has this large sort of like black and purple hat with like
No.
a feather coming off of it, and this eye patch over one eye. and he's shouting in his drow accent, which I imagine sounds a lot like Australian, but I can't do an Australian accent, so
G'day, mate.
G'day, mate.
no, a real
Top-
Australian
Yeah,
accent.
none of those are real. No, like, what?
Hey,
Um,
Mike, there's an AA on AA.
and
Hey.
yeah, he's sort of like beckoning people, and he like sees you, and he says, more travelers on the road, interested in taking a look at what we've gathered from the frost giant vessel the arcane brotherhood so kindly destroyed for us.
I say it's like, yes, I say.
He like
I'm
cracks a big grin from beneath his large hat.
I'm most interested in knowing if amongst the salvage there was anything that seemed to be made of a black crystal, sort of like ice, but black in coloration.
And he says, information, is it? Well, what's that worth to you? Yeah.
This is just like
He said,
says like
everything is for sale or trade here in Luskin.
I says like, well, I was more curious. Was just curious if you had it or not. I say,
That's
it's
what he's saying. If you want to know if he does, you gotta pay up for it.
yeah. Says it's like it's I like sort of look around and just like look seeing the crowd all around us like I'll look up and it's just like look you might want to know what it is if you have it, so if there's
That's
any
the
way
information we can trade.
if there's any way we could talk without earshot of everyone else.
And he sort of says, he kind of like gives you like a quizzical look and like snaps and like gestures to the guards who begin like sort of ushering people back a ways and away
Yeah.
from the market stall. And he says,
Yeah.
interesting. You proposing a trade then? Information for information.
Yes, I say. If I will bring up the bloodstone because that's the black ice figure. Like the material looks like this. I say it's something that, as far as I'm aware, it originates from the Icewind Dales. We called it black ice in the Dales. It's something that dwarves was able like dug up. According to what we found out, it's a substance that was created by an ancient wizard named Okkar Castle. It has the unfortunate property of starting to corrupt anyone who holds it over prolonged periods of time, unless they have been properly well, how do you say it? Worked over properly. På norska är det bearbetat. Properly manufactured. There's a way to seem. It seems there's a way to mitigate that. I say, but in its pure substance, it causes a corruption. Causes for the dwarves, it turned them more greedy, more aggressive, and the people of the Dales became more greedy and aggressive, paranoid even, while holding it. It says, we know it can be destroyed by extreme heat, melted like ice. It says,
He sort of like nods to this. He says, mind if I take a look?
sure. I hold the door to him.
Right. So he like
Give me the back.
sort of like picks it up, and you see he takes out this little sort of like single like basically like magnifying glass like eyepiece and starts like looking it over. He says, fine craftsmanship on this stuff. Says, black ice, you say?
Yes.
Something rather nostalgic about all this. And then he sort of tosses it back to you, and he says,
Yeah. I
interesting.
put it back in my backpack. I says like, we know some of the frost giants. We thought we got rid of it all 9 years ago, but some of the frost giants started who that appeared in the Dales had the stuff. And from what we can tell, the frost giant, the frost giants, have gotten hold of it somehow. So, just wanted to make sure you didn't have it on this boat here.
And he's sort of like you can see he's like scratching his chin. And he says, Kessel, eh? funny. There's, well, we found some of the stuff. We're not the only ones grabbing at the salvage. I think some of the boys from Ship Rethnor grabbed it up. Um,
Oh my god, no! That
uh,
fucking name!
he says,
Yeah.
we found a few of the things. They're badly scorched. Some of them melted, like you said. Seems like the barrage of fireballs the Brotherhood threw at them was enough to destroy most of it. Um, no, what we've been pulling up is mostly scraps of bone, carvings, a bit of gold, some curios, um, strange things they must have pilfered from other villages on their journeys.
I see. It says, anything that's but none of the black guys then, or you just found it destroyed.
I said, not that we've managed to claim the rights to.
Right.
Said we saw some of it, but it was melted and destroyed beyond our use. Can't really sell half a melted statue, now can you?
I nod. As well, good and well that selling it to others would cause misfortune down the line. I say. Right. Well, you mentioned like other. I might be curious to like actually see what else that giants had if you're to see if there might be something of use to me and my friends. I say, which we could barter for. Do you have like a? I'd like to look around because I don't see them having anything on stage or whatever. As far as I'm aware, do you have any like? Have you set up any like sort of like display or
And
how are you doing this?
he says, well, if I set up a display, it'd be liable to get taken by whatever grubby hands are wandering around here. He says, no, we've got it safely stored back here, and he kind of like taps on a safe that he's got
Mhm.
with him, and he says, we haven't found much of interest, I would think, to your type. More the type looking for trophies to display or strange knickknacks. Although we did find a rather curious thing. Perhaps would interest you. When he goes and you see he starts like turning the lock on the safe, opening it up, and he pulls out what appears to be a set of like four iron horseshoes, um, and sort of like puts them down on the like desk of the market stall.
I look at it down. It's like horseshoes.
And he says, "Aye, not just any horseshoes, mind you." He says, "Something curious about them. A bit of a tingle in the air, scent of magic."
Interesting.
Have you had them identified?
And he says, "Fortunately, we just fished them out of the sea, so not yet."
We happen to have a wizard who's able to identify magical items. Perhaps we could come to some sort of a agreement for that, so you know what you have.
He says, "That's so." This, well, I would be glad to meet this wizard of yours.
Alright, I'm with you guys.
Yes, you're with us.
Yep.
So you turn around, I'm not there. I'm at a stall across the road.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Lucas, look! There's a little dragon toy! It's so cute!
I just like she's able to identify despite
Okay.
not being.
Kind of take a pebble and throw at her.
I point towards.
Don't you have arrows?
Like while she might not be as impressive, while she might not carry herself impressive, I assure you, her magical abilities are solid.
He sort of
How much would it be to buy this stuffed dragon toy, Brad?
What?
He RP'd that he found a stuffed dragon toy.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, you found this little stuffed dragon toy. Some of the stuffing's kind of like coming out of it. It looks like it's been patched up like several times. Um, but yeah, I mean the merchant selling it insists that it is a rare like family heirloom from a long forgotten Waterdavian house. And he says he'll sell it to you for the low price of 15 gold.
Put it back.
Okay. So I like look over at Alexia and it's like I wave her over.
This place is quite cool.
As it's like, yeah, sure. Alexia, we have a group of horseshoes that might need identifying. I like if the captain would agree to that.
Horseshoes.
Yes, I guess it was the horseshoes they're like. They're magical in nature. Says.
Right. Okay. I've never heard of magical horseshoes before, but if you want me to check them,
Yeah, I look towards the captain. I say, if you're like willing to, like, if they are of interest to us, if we could get a discount for identifying them. Otherwise, if they turn out not to be of interest to us, if you would be willing to just pay us a little bit for the service, I say.
And he sort of
How's that sound?
Sort of like thinks for a bit. And then he says he like nods. And he says, "Granted, such services are readily available. It won't be much, but it's an agreeable."
Yes, I say. And I guess to Alexis, like, can you identify these?
of course, Alquil, if that behooves you.
I slap Alexia across the head.
Ow!
Let's, please do it quickly.
Fine. So it takes me 11 minutes to ritual cast identify.
Or you can use a spell slot. We're still gonna stay here for all the night.
Not prepared.
Ah, fuck.
Why would you prepare when you
um,
can ritual cast it?
Yeah, precisely.
He sort of like shrugs. It's like, wizards and eccentricity go hand in hand.
I thought it was a funny joke. No one ever likes my joke.
If it was good, I would have.
And yeah, so he looks you over and it's just like while she's doing that, maybe I can interest you in some other things. But he basically like shows you a bunch of like knickknacks and stuff like that. He doesn't have anything
Junk.
of what you guys would consider junk.
Yeah. I mean,
Buy things.
Junk is in the eye of the beholder.
So unless you guys are looking for he also mentions, he says, I also trade a bit in information if there's anything you've been looking to perhaps know about. But I've got
like,
ears to the ground everywhere.
interesting, I say. Yes, you do strike me as a man who might know a thing or two. And as a matter of fact has it, we are in fact looking for information about a particular subject. A person, I say. Does the name Artus Simba say you anything? And if so, what would it cost?
Artist Simber. Today really is a nostalgic day. I've heard of him. Information on him, well, is at somewhat of a premium, I'm afraid. Not much of it to go around.
2 gold.
I say it's just like, you don't say. Somehow I knew it. That would be it. How much would it be?
Sort of like looks you over, and he says, I dare not even insult you with an offer.
I blink a few times. And I
So
says
you're
like,
saying it's too expensive.
I see.
Feel free to insult me.
And he says, you've the right of it, boy. Fortunately, this sort of information, well, there are a lot of buyers paying a very, very hefty price.
I would imagine. I says. No, I know myself that I don't have the gold for it.
I asked him like, feel free to insult me with a number.
He says, is that so? You wish to know? He says, well, the last person I sold the information to did so for a sum of about 10,000 gold.
All right.
Right.
I think I'm a little bit short on that.
I would be surprised if you weren't. I say.
I'm gonna inside check that and see if he's bullshitting.
Sure, go ahead. No, straight faced.
All right, Aquil. We might not have the gold for it, but we do have our own unique assets that we could provide. Favor for information. If you actually know something.
I was just like, what are you suggesting? Like, I'm leaning in to Lucas.
Perhaps he has something that needs to be done that we could help him with.
Worth
For the information.
Just like,
Worth 10,000. Yeah.
I like sort of shake my head and I look at him and it's like, Lucas, my friend here, was wondering, I was saying like it's a long shot, but if there's any way that we could, anything that we might be able to do for you in trade for this information, since anything you might be needing doing.
Yeah, you see, it's sort of like cocks an eyebrow. He says, that's so. Mercenaries for hire, then. So he kind of like looks over you all, and he says, I might have a few things. Says, information's that important to you, huh?
I nod. It's just like, I could tell you why, but information is valuable, as you say.
Sort of like chuckles a bit at this, and he says, I suppose I have a few things you could do for me. He says, but perhaps that's something we'd best discuss later.
Yes.
Maybe you would like to meet me later tonight.
All right. So where and when?
He says, on the north banks, outside of the Mirabar Shield. A little alleyway there, about a block or two down.
All right. I say. You must forgive me. I didn't actually ever give you my name. My name is Alquil Redmoon. I say.
Did we get his name?
I hold out my hand.
Yeah, so he says, pleasure to meet you, Alquil.
Shakes hands. And says like, and you would be.
He says,
Information is important.
He says, a friendly merchant.
Of course, I say.
Identifying.
Yeah. And look down at Alexei.
Has been 11 minutes, Brad.
Yeah, so like this conversation goes on, and eventually 11 minutes pass. Alexei, you finish your identification.
Completed.
So these are horseshoes of speed.
Okay.
They are horseshoes of speed.
How fast does that make a horse?
It increases their movement speed by 30 feet.
So like a riding horse would go to 90, I think.
Any horse equipped with these shoes will be faster than a horse without one.
Really? I'm impressed, James.
That's just like. Right, I say. Looks towards Lucas, and that's like it's not like because you're the only one who might have use of that.
But now that I have done this for you, Alquil, perhaps you may do something for me in return.
I
What?
But I look at like her as it's like we're getting paid for this, Gorak. Maybe.
That guy selling that dragon toy at 15 gold.
Yeah, that's a scam. I say.
Maybe you have to do that haggling thing that I mean normal people do.
Wow.
Could you help me with that, please?
Afraid
Sure,
there's
after this.
no helping that lass, Alquill.
Yeah.
So what's the asking price for the horseshoes?
He says, well, seeing as you went out of your way to identify him for me, says horseshoes that make a horse go fast. Useful curio for couriers and merchants, perhaps.
Or
Not s-
racing?
He says, well, my friend, only if you don't get caught.
That was the cheating.
He says, something like that. Probably put a price of around 200 gold, but since you identified it for me, perhaps knock a bit off. 150 gold.
I look at Lucas.
Yeah, I'm checking. I'm opening my inventory. I'm looking.
Up to you. Your horse, I say.
I kind of lean over and whisper to him, yeah, it's the horse that I'm going to have to leave behind.
I don't know. That's
I
what
wonder if he could carry her in her claws.
you'd have to ask.
Well,
Yeah, so Lucas, you move to go rummage around in your bag, and it is gone.
fucking kidding me. I lost everything in that bag.
What? Wait, what have you lost?
Apparently someone looted my bag of holding.
What?
You say that?
The
My
say
bag
bag
of holding
itself
gone.
is missing. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I cast locate objects.
Alright, boys, we on the warpath. Let's go.
I look over at. We didn't get his name. I'll be back. Alquill, find it.
Hmm.
What?
The bag.
So the merchant just sort of like smirks a bit and says, "Oh, I'm sure you will." And yeah, he says, "I'll be expecting you." You cast locate object.
Yep.
And yeah, so you focus in for a bit, and you get like a vague feeling of it, um, approximately to the northeast, and you know it's traveling northwest. Um, and what else do you get? Yeah, so you get the direction. Um, you know that it's in motion. You know its direction of movement. But it doesn't actually tell you the distance exactly. But you know it's to the
Within 1,000 feet.
you know it's within 1,000 feet to the northeast and traveling northwest.
Go, Alquill.
I'm going to start going out, like following it. I have keep the concentration and go go after.
I'll follow.
All right, so you begin chasing after this object. Is everybody else going with?
Let's go.
Sure.
All right, cool. So everybody
Oh, actually,
begins.
I'll check my pocket as well.
You have all your stuff.
I'll
Do I
check my
have all my
pockets.
stuff?
Ah, ah.
I was going to use the spell to try to locate Valish scans, but okay.
Look,
Where-
priorities for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you begin to run off after the object, and you're kind of like running through the street, like checking every so often.
Yeah.
And the object is moving at a like at a slower pace than you are, since you're like running. Obviously, whoever has this
Yeah.
object isn't like running. But you eventually come to sort of like the northern end of northeastern end of town, with where the road kind of like leads out out of the city. And you can see there's like a crowd of people, and you can sense the object is somewhere like within that crowd, sort of like worming its way through the crowd, um, and then like cuts off into an alleyway.
I will follow it.
Same.
Yeah.
All right. So you follow after the bag, the spell, and round into an alleyway, which seems to move up towards like a block of buildings. The alleyway itself is sort of like walled in by all these buildings. Looking down the alleyway, you don't like see anything at first, but you still like detect the object. And you detect that it has sort of gone down underground a ways. And walking over, you can see that at the end of this alleyway, there is essentially this this sort of like trap door that was like covered over with dirt, but the dirt has been like disturbed, and the
Yeah.
door has been like opened. And as you like sort of like move over, you can see the door is still like slightly open. Um, and you go and like pull it open. The object is still like getting a bit further away. But you like go pull it open and you see this ladder that descends down, maybe about like 15 to 20 feet into this sort of carved tunnel system.
Go.
This way, I say, and start climbing
Right.
down.
And you begin climbing down into the tunnels, chasing after the missing bag of holding. And
Yes.
that
Some of
Give me a
them-
sec.
that is
I'm
where
gonna
we are going
cast-
to leave off for today.
Guys, I'm seriously about to murder everybody. I don't care who has this. I'm going to fucking murder them.
I am.
I summon my halberd.
I have ways to just like tie them up if I just can see them.
No, you don't understand. Alquil, as we're not Alquil. Well, yeah, Alquil. I'm talking to you. Like you know, as we're running, I look furious.
Yeah.
And as soon as we get in there, I summon like fuck. I
What-
probably summon
like-
a great sword.
What should be a little kid?
He's dead. I'm
Well, you know
sorry,
that
he's dead.
that kid's fucking done so.
I summoned the fucking great sword.
You know, that would be like if it's a little kid, you know how it's going to turn out. We're gonna fucking save that kid, adopt it, and bring him with us for the rest of the
Yeah,
fucking
I
campaign.
mean, of course
If
that's
you
probably
can
gonna
stop me
happen.
from fucking killing it, go ahead. I summoned the great sword. I don't think anyone's seen this one.
All right, but as you all descend down into these tunnels, chasing after the missing bag of holding, we are going to leave things off for the week here.
Fair enough.
And we will pick up next time. Not next week. Next week we're going to have to be taking a break, but the week after we will be back and see where these tunnels lead and what our heroes
Child,
have
I
found
have to
themselves
fucking
in.
murder.
And it was me who was in charge of recap next time.
And yes, Thor is in charge of the recap next time. Just at yourself and fail
Yes,
at it.
I-
And fail
It's
at
at beta, goddammit.
Congrats. All right. So thank you all for joining me, and we will see you in 2 weeks from now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.